Did I miss interrupting Great Giger?
We are live.
So I can interrupt him now?
Indeed.
Except he hasn't started.
How about now?
Welcome to Chapter 2, Session 4 of our Legends of Generica GURPS campaign. I'm Gigermann, today's GM. And Com Junkie just lost a bunch of character points.
Hello, Gigermann.
Yeah.
Makes it sound like we're at a AA meeting.
Mm-hmm. Aren't we? Do we have any bookkeeping to take care of that you know of?
I am just figuring out what social skills to increase since I took away the savoir fairs.
All right. Funnily enough, the other bits that I have are related to you. So,
Ruh-roh.
Murdoch had bought a pony outright, and I wanted to know where he was going to stable it. Now, in his case, he's got a few options that I can think of. He could potentially... I think if he were going to stable it with the Heroes Guild, he'd have to pay a coin for that, and it's probably going to be a regular basis, not a one-time thing, so that's probably not going to be long-term viable.
I was thinking it'd probably be best to do it with more of the Smith's Guild. And
that was going to be the other thing I was going to suggest, is possibly you could do that through the Smith's Guild.
Because the other option of doing it with the Smith's Guild is that I could say that they could use the pony for work-related stuff when I'm not using it.
Possibly. The other one I was going to throw out there was the Rentley's farm where Leodin lives. They might have a spot that you could park it, in which case Leodin could keep an eye on it while you're not there.
That would work too.
But the Smith's Guild would probably be the ideal, assuming they have a place for that. In fact, they may have some property outside the walls where you would end up keeping it there. That probably makes the most sense. Because not many people within the walls actually own horses or mounts of any kind. The other part is the loot. So I have you down for 750 GURPS for the golden mirror.
It's cursed, by the way.
It may be cursed, so I would recommend, if you're going to sell that, don't talk about that. The fact that it's infused with fairy magic.
I'll definitely be selling it.
And I will let you roll merchant on that if you want to. If you win, if you don't roll, you get it for 750. If you roll and you fail, you lose 10%. If you roll and you succeed, you gain 10%. So
Give me a moment.
It simple. The other thing was I have a bone pipe engraved that's worth $4 or 4 GURPS. It was possible that you wanted to pick that up, unless Murdoch's going to swipe it and then run off with it. But that's up to you guys.
Let's see. Does my greed overcome me? Let's find out.
Doesn't
Like
usually.
15 in green.
Ow. Yeah. Yeah, hardly ever overcomes you. Oh, it's 12 or less.
I mean, unless you want it to overcome you, then you might as well just drop it down and get the points for it.
Can we spend a penny?
That.
Can we spend a penny to make him overcome?
seem kind of extraneous for that.
How many sessions do you expect Generica to run?
Plan is 12, so we are at the 1/3 point.
So potentially 8 more points-ish.
Ish, yeah. Actually, there's a couple of, at least one spot in there where I intend to even out a little more. Fair warning. Right, so are you going to take the 750 as is, or are you going to attempt to merchant that?
I am going to attempt to merchant that.
Have at you then.
It is going to be at a +1 because I am increasing my merchant skill to 10.
Oh, not a +1. It's just higher. I'll leave it raw. We won't deal with any modifiers like you being ugly. All right, you made it barely. So you will get it at an additional 10%. So what is that? 825.
Excellent.
You are the wealthiest man among us, such as you are.
It's because he's picking everything up that isn't nailed down.
Well, somebody else could do that too, I guess.
Why would I do that?
All right. Anybody else have any bookkeeping? Take that as a no.
I can't think of any, no.
Once upon a time, in the land of Clichea, in the kingdom of Generica, in the 12th year of King John the 17th, a fortnight since returning from the Kingswood, the company of the Bere are at the Heroes Guild Tavern having a pint. Cue intro music.
Da, 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 da.
Hopefully something a little more epic than that. All right. You are at the Heroes Guild Tavern getting a pint. It is in the afternoon. Why are you there?
Because we're getting a pint.
No more reason than that? I mean, I guess that's good enough.
I was chased out of the house by the housekeeper because she's doing some cleaning.
How long has it been since our last
A
adventure?
fortnight.
20 days.
Well, Leo is here because he wants to catch up with his friends. He hasn't seen them in 14 days and was
Aren't
concerned.
you a loner?
Yeah, but still wants to check up on his mates.
Not a hermit.
I'm assuming you guys are meeting here regularly in the early part of the day. This is a secondary meeting. Regardless,
We were promised some really good food.
Burley is waiting patiently to hear what you have to say as you stare at the knife standing vertically, almost slowly tipping over in the mug full of alcoholic quote-unquote beverage he refers to as Dwarfmount pudding. It's
So he lied.
an ancient stout family recipe.
What am I going to say? I'm going to probably look at him and said, I asked for wine.
He can't hold his liquor. This is good stuff. It's got meat to it.
This is not beer, not liquor.
Whatever. Semantics.
Anybody drinking?
I am.
Hell no.
Roll your health.
I'm not immune to poison.
Seems a little thick.
That's when you
Yeah,
know
if
it's
you're-
done.
I have
If you're having
alcohol
to-
tolerance, so what does that give me?
That'll
Oh,
give
that's
you
interesting.
that bonus.
And I'm also resistant to poison, so +3 to resist. So is this a poison or is this more of a alcohol tolerance?
I believe alcohol qualifies as a poison in that regard. Yeah, you got a bunch of bonuses. You're probably not going to fail it.
You say that he's
I'm
totally
at least
roll
going
an
to add
18.
+3.
I did say probably.
No, he's going to roll an 18 and pass out. Oh, wow. Alcohol tolerance gives you a +2 to health rolls related
I
to
thought it was
drinking.
that.
I would have gotten it anyway.
You tried to fail a little bit.
Well, that was, I don't know what pluses I get, so this is probably higher than that.
You feel like you just got kicked in the head.
This is good stuff. Lay it in. Have some.
I think you are insane. I would not touch that if my life depended on it.
Oh, the elf
It
can't
looks like
hold
it's
his
gonna
beer.
try and reach out and it looks like it wants to reach out and touch us.
It's like drinking alcoholic syrup. Patron Zealous, the Heroes Guild chaplain, swings through the tavern and snags a mug like a runner's baton, stops, downs a bit of it, and then stumbles from the kick in the head and looks down at the mug and tells Burley, I don't know, it could be a little stronger.
I agree. See, patron can hold his beer.
And he reminds Burley that the auditor will be here tomorrow. Gods be with us. And they both groan at that.
Who's the auditor?
Burley says, that woman scares me.
Who is she?
Is she hot?
Disapproving look.
Yeah.
Zealous will tell you that every year the auditor comes by and checks on the books and everything, making sure everything's squared away. She goes from chapter house to chapter house, and it just happens to be our turn. Of course, nobody enjoys that.
Well, as long as
Well,
they haven't
is
done
she
anything wrong.
lonely?
Jocko the Spider, the Heroes Guild's spy master, appears out of nowhere like he was standing in the corner the whole time and says, I really don't think you want to go there, actually. May I sit?
God, where'd you come
Okay.
from?
I've been called to a meeting in the Old City regarding the Guild's assistance in a sensitive matter. I need some public champions to watch my back. It's worth a coin apiece, maybe more. What say you?
I'm in.
As long as I don't have to drink that stuff.
Wimp.
Give him a disapproving look.
Shrug it off. Doesn't matter.
Drink it away.
You know, I'm pretty sure I saw something similar to that floating in the sewers.
This tastes better.
And you would know.
I probably
So,
would.
So where is this in the city? I mean, who is it for?
You'll see.
Great.
Patron Zealous says, Hey, Jocko, you find out what happened to the Bounty Brothers yet? No, I'm still reaching out. If it were anyone else, I might worry. Zealous says, probably in prison.
Do we know who the Bounty Brothers are?
Just another Brothers at Arms charter in the Heroes Guild.
Gotcha.
You probably heard the name around.
Do we need to arm up, kit up? What?
Yeah, you'll need to kit up. I don't expect a problem, but who knows?
Understood.
All right, so you guys, if you are going to kit up, establish what it is you're bringing with you.
We're playing bodyguard.
Yep.
More or less, yeah.
Okay, so I'm fully kitting up.
I'm probably not going to have the corselet.
And I'll presume per SOP that whenever you guys meet up here, you have a tendency to bring your stuff just in case.
Yeah, it's burned us too many times to not do that.
Go bags.
Exactly.
All right, so once you guys are all kitted up, you will head out down the processional toward the other end of town.
Is the arrow on the map significant?
That is essentially your route. You're going from the Heroes Guild down to the old city. No, I forgot your pictures are already down there.
So there he was, and he had like these two coconuts, and he was banging them together.
That
Craziest
makes
thing.
no sense.
As you pass through the low market, heading down to Blackgate, you find the town crier doing his thing.
Which one is it?
Damn it, it did it to me again. Put the wrong frickin' image in that link. Today it is Jack the Tenacious. And you hear him speaking on the platform, edited by me for emphasis. We remind all citizens of the capital that the blank restoration work on several of the city's blank bridges is ongoing. Please be patient and do not blank vent frustrations caused by blank delays at the blanking workers themselves.
I'm going to give him a disapproving look.
If I
Why
could
does he keep saying blank all the time?
If I could visually do the censor bar over his mouth whenever he says that, I would do that.
Gotcha.
Next, punished at last. Notorious outlaw Robin Steele, captured a fortnight ago and sentenced to hang, has elected instead to be sent to the North Pass to join the Sentinels, where he will stand the Grey Watch until his death. Sentence to be carried out immediately. Gonna miss that guy.
Took the black.
Took the
Took
gray.
the gray. And he pulls out a lute, painted black with yellow flames on it, and says, "And now a word about Master Martin and his boots." And he goes into a commercial song for Martin's boots, something about ass kicking, part musical performance, part aggravated assault, including something about hide from a fiendish dire bull and kick so hard his hat will be thought his codpiece. And you're pretty sure a lute is not meant to be played like that. Further announcements at the next bell.
Such a strange fellow.
I kind of like him.
Of course you do. You have questionable tastes about a great many things.
You continue south into the old city and into the East Side District, also known as the Thieves District.
I'm growing increasingly uncomfortable if it's the Thieves District.
I'll take my money pouch and put it somewhere more secure.
Drops it in my underwear.
I'm on a
Is that more
job. Why
secure?
would I have the money pouch with me?
For some reason, Leo's junk just got bigger.
Wait. And as you turn off the processional, you arrive in the area
And a
of
loading
the old,
screen.
the area of the old Locksmith's Guild Hall, which
Locksmiths. Right.
which Getwell immediately recognizes as the headquarters of the Thieves Guild.
Totally legitimate.
It only makes sense that the Locksmith Guild would be the head of the Thieves Guild.
He said that Getwell recognized it. I didn't. It's just Locksmith's Guild.
That's out of
Locksmith's
character.
Guild to me.
That was an out of character comment.
Yeah, well, Meku's the only one with actual streetwise in this particular group.
Why would I have streetwise?
You would probably not. I would be surprised if you did. And Jocko confirms that, yes, indeed, that is where we are going.
So, saying that, I do recall playing in CRPG. I don't remember which one it was, but I was playing a paladin who could pick locks.
Hey, you
I
never
always
know
thought
when
that
you
was
need
amusing.
to. Could be an
Yep,
emergency. So goes up and knocks on the door. Someone opens. You guys enter into the aging guild hall. One might be fooled into thinking it's a busy, everyday, honest guild, but for some seedy characters lurking in some dark corners here and there.
Man, these guys have ill-favored looks.
You are escorted upstairs to a gallery. And as you go, you recognize a familiar face lurking in one of those dark corners. A man with a familiar birthmark who is glaring at you menacingly and
Why is he familiar?
rubbing an arrow scar on his hand.
Clearly, we ran into him, but I don't remember him.
Yeah, it's from the what do you call that? It's the pregame meetup thing. Leodin shot him through the hand, and Dustin splashed him with water. Some kind of water spell. I don't remember the exact nature of it, but this was during the Bere incident.
Oh, okay. So we've met him. The characters have met him. The players haven't.
Players have not.
Give him a disapproving look.
In Getwell's case, there is at least one or two ladies in the area as you pass
Negotiable affection.
who avert their gaze and sort of dodge out of the way lest they be recognized. You think you've seen them around in this or that brothel or this or that tavern. So as you reach the gallery, a man comes out of the study, and Jocko.
Oh crap!
He and Jocko greet each other like old friends. His name is Capo, and Jocko introduces you. This is Boss Capo of the Thieves Guild, or the Capitoline Thieves Guild, I should say.
Kenrick looks very disapproving.
And they exchange a few pleasantries, and Jocko turns to you guys and said, stand watch here while we go talk about this business of theirs. And they head off into the office.
I try to look intimidating as I stand guard.
You kind of do that sometimes without meaning to.
Grumpy face.
I don't think Kenrick is trying to be intimidating, but he's definitely uncomfortable here. That whole, hey, honesty is kicking in. Like, these people, we shouldn't be treating with these people. We should be arresting them.
That's a interesting point, I suppose, whether or not he actually knows about the arrangement between the Thieves Guild and the Heroes Guild and all that.
I'm guessing not.
He's probably new enough to the Heroes Guild that they may not have gone over that sort of thing. So, yeah, he would be kind of confused.
And disapproving.
I suppose Make you might be aware of it, that the two guilds sort of have an understanding, actually, an agreement written out. So the Thieves Guild are allowed to exist, providing they stay within the bounds and they have certain rules they have to follow. And the Heroes Guild keeps them from straying from the agreement. So they're checks and balances against each other.
Right. That sounds, reasonable.
And so the guild keeps the random crime from getting out of hand by, crushing anybody who comes in here and starts stealing stuff.
Well,
as
it wouldn't
you are
be too unheard of for Getwell to have performed healings on wayward rogues that have found themselves in. I just accidentally changed my stinking token.
What?
Those two are not related.
Sorry, I was clicking and dragging or thought I was dragging my character sheet, and I was dragging my token while I was talking. But
It'll
anywho, so
It'll be fine.
potentially wanting, trying to make inroads or with contacts with the Thieves Guild. So Make you is really kind of like, cool, I'm here. I have an invite in.
That's true. You probably never actually been in here, but you know about it. So you can give give Kenrick the Tildeer version. Meanwhile, Master No Good sidles up to Laodin and sort of gets in his personal space a little bit and wonders aloud if you are as fast in close quarters as you are at a distance.
Of course I am. Would you like to find out?
And he starts to slide a blade free from its sheath, when suddenly a large vice-like hand on his shoulder causes his eyes to pop out a little bit.
Is that Murdoch?
And
Nope,
this
that's not Murdoch. That's the Juggernaut.
This
Bitch.
very large, unfriendly fellow says, "Steady now." And just after
Because his knife has replica on it?
Indeed. It's wood. A lady with an unmistakable Antagonese accent interposes herself between No Good and the elf and reminds him that the Heroes Guild are on our side today. You can go back to hating them tomorrow. She then introduces herself as
Well, Leo will say to Nick Cage, we'll say, it looks like your friend saved you from a very grave mistake.
I concur with that statement.
he's really wanting. You can tell his eyes are bugging out enough that he's in enough pain he can't move, but he really wants to have a go at it.
So is Leodin gonna be a troll and a button pusher to see if you can trigger his stupid disads?
Let me check. I don't think Leo's that sort of person.
Probably not.
Getwell might be.
Getwell probably would.
Oh, he does have bloodlust.
Yeah, that's not the same here. If he were in a fight, he'd probably kill him, but if he's not in a fight, he might not start one.
No, he won't start one. He does have pacifism, but he can be blunt. But yeah, not warranted in this situation.
The lady introduces herself as Lady Serena, and she looks Henrik up and down, and waves over and says, "Come, children, let's show our guests what good hosts we are." And,
Murdoch's gonna whistle when he notices Lady Serena looking Kenrick up and down.
Be a good host, and the kids are going to swarm us like piranha, and then we're going to be standing there in our underwear going, what just happened?
The kids do indeed swarm in. They bring cheese and wine on platters and make a big show.
I'm going to politely decline, as you know, we are here on a job.
And as you
I'd be ungracious as I lift a glass. Yeah.
Here, have a disapproving look, Getwell.
I will eat some food if they offer it. No wasting food here. I'm a dwarf. I'm gonna eat.
You're not a hobbit, though. You can restrain yourself.
But the important question is, will he?
No. No.
Dang! Now I kind of wish Getwell was half hobbit. Daddy has some explaining to do.
I mean, if they're bringing out food, he'll get a platter of food and he'll be munching on it and get a tanker of ale and down it.
As
He's totally pulling the Gimli thing from Two Towers.
As the dog and pony show continues, make you being the savvy type actually catches that they are in fact behind as well as before, and they are very clearly attempting to pickpocket people.
They're not going to get much from me unless they're.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad point, though.
I will point them in Murdoch's direction.
Well, yeah, that's true. You do know he's super rich, right?
No, lad or lass. That's the one you want.
All right, then. Murdoch can make a perception check. Oh, pushing it. Actually, did you have a potion? Yeah, no, I went over everybody's gear, and it's like nobody has anything that'd be hanging out there that you could actually snag easily.
I do have the Alchemist Fire still.
Do you?
Still on my description, so unless you take it away.
Although that would be kind of funny. You change the values on our character sheets and we don't even notice.
That would be hilarious, and this is probably the only way you could ever do that in a role-playing game in something like Fantasy Grounds, because you couldn't do that with paper sheets in a face-to-face game.
Yeah, when you have the GM capable of, like, yoink! Everyone's now, like, staring at their characters, you're like, what's changed?
Sometime later, Jocko emerges from the meeting with Capo, and they do the whole arm handshake thing and says, we'll see it done. And signals you guys that we're heading out. And as you guys head downstairs, he points.
Yeah, it's gonna be see what done.
Points you over to a quiet corner of the hall, and explains that Boss Capo has confirmed what my network has revealed to me. There have been a number of attacks on the Thieves Guild and the Gamby family in Burrow Hill. Both sides have accused the other and deny responsibility, of course. But now Capo's daughter has been kidnapped, and once again, the Gambys have been implicated. Capo has learned where his daughter is being held, but as the agreement forbids them to take arms in the city, they are requesting the Heroes Guild intervene on their behalf and get her back. I'm tasking you with her rescue. Do whatever you have to, and be expecting a trap. I will reach out to my network and see what else I can discover. If you need to reach me or pass on some information, find a beggar and say something along the lines of, "Do you know the widow's son?" He should respond, "His mother was once a beautiful woman."
There's absolutely no way that the Thieves Guild don't have somebody like in the walls or in the ceiling or in the floor listening to that.
What was the response we're looking for?
His mother was once a beautiful woman, or something like that. And he will say also that this works in reverse as well.
Just so we can write it down, what were the things?
The
challenge and response?
Do you know the widow's son? And his mother was once a beautiful woman. As you guys are exiting the guild hall, the children arrive once again to see you off, and at Serena's signal, one of the children hands Murdoch his potion back and says, "Thank
I
you."
must have dropped it. Thank you. And thank you, Lady Serena. The food was wonderful.
And off you go.
Thieves.
So, as said, this is it is evening. The sun is getting low.
I think they
And,
refer to it as redistribution of wealth.
Thieves.
Jocko has passed on to you the location of the house where Capo's daughter is being held.
Who the hell are the Gamby family?
The Gamby family is the... Let me start over.
Wait, that's the Halfling Mafia thing, right?
Makyu can tell you that Vigo Gamby is also known as the steward of Burrow Hill, is known to be a sort of Halfling Mafia family. They are essentially a foreign thieves guild, for lack of a better term, that have kind of moved into the capital over the years and are a bit of a competitor.
I will relate such information.
Question: why do I get a +1 for pickaxe penchant?
Because you're a dwarf. You have a penchant for using pickaxes.
It's a talent. It's a talent that's part of the dwarf template. All right, so the place where she is supposedly being held is in the West Side District, aka the Slums, and there you go. So you have a location. It's a house, probably like so.
So we get a scouting look at it, maybe figure out the proper tactical approach. We want to hit all entrances, exits at the same time.
You could.
Let's see, I think Ledin is our only real sneaky person, right?
I believe that's true.
I have stealth.
Are you any good at it, though?
11.
You're not any good at it.
Doesn't even exist for me.
Nope.
I might.
So
This group is not the most subtle.
Leo will stealth and observe and do a reconnaissance of the whole place.
I do not have stealth at all. Stealth is
Nope.
what other people do.
Exactly. It's like, somebody goes, "Oh, are you going to be sneaky?" And then, I generally will look at the full chainmail and steel corselet I'm wearing and the big shield and the loud horse.
Well, what I can do is I can play merchant while at the same time observing from a distance.
It's the slums, though.
What kind of
There's
actor are
merchants.
you?
What kind of what?
So what kind of actor are you?
Well, I'd be actually bargaining with somebody, trying to haggle over something at the same time while I'm observing
That's
from a
not
distance.
playing a merchant. That's
Being a merchant.
yeah.
Well, in other words, I'm using my merchant skill to mask the fact that I'm actually observing from a distance.
Well, you'd be trying to wait. You'd need to have a shop to play the part of a merchant.
No, you
don't
use a
have a
merchant
shop.
skill to haggle.
Technically, he could buy something, but this is a residential area. There aren't shops here necessarily.
Ah, gotcha.
We're in
But-
the slums.
Having said that, so Leodin is using observation. How will Dustin contribute to this effort?
Hmm.
He is apparently deep in thought.
Well, he did say, which is the first thing I've heard him say today.
Yeah.
Is that unusual?
It might
No.
be.
Well, while he muses, how about Getwell?
Trying to see how I can use urban survival.
Well, I mean, you could go over escape routes and that sort of thing, I guess.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
You've got
Yeah.
streetwise, don't you?
I do.
He
You
could
might be
potentially
able
use
to
that
ask.
as well.
Yeah, you might be able to ask some of the locals about the goings on there. Like find a beggar that's conveniently placed and go, "Hey, I'll hit you with a cure minor if you tell me this information."
Streetwise will do. Or urban
They're
survival.
equally-
I think that's legit.
I'm actually going to use urban survival to annotate and locate any kind of additional exits that might be available or paths,
Escape routes.
dead ends, escape routes.
Roll it. All right.
How do
About
I
Sir
do
Kenrick.
how do I remove the tabs from my pasted text? Sorry, the extra.
Oh, select all and Control J, I think it was.
I am.
I'm assuming.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
You were about to say something.
Okay. Well, I was going to assume that Kenrick would be using tactics here.
Yes, that is going to be the case once I get the general layout.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and roll it.
Yay! I
Okay.
didn't fail.
And Murdoch.
Are there any taverns in this area?
Not specifically. There are probably brew houses where, somebody lives there and they open it up for people to come in and drink.
If there's any that would be nearby, what I'm thinking is I can do carousing, and I'd basically start buying some drinks, and then just while carousing, casually ask questions for prodding for information.
I was going to say, I think carousing and intimidation are the new psychology and empathy.
The other option is I also have observation, so I could just be watching from a distance, but I'm trying to be a little bit more fun.
Well, I think what's gonna end up happening is you would use your carousing to be in a place looking like you're carousing while you observe. Observation would make as much sense, I think.
So should I do carousing first to get the favorable and maybe get a bonus to my observation because everybody thinks I truly am carousing?
You know what? Why the hell not?
I will be spending money on drinks, so that'll give me a +3 for my carousing roll. So how much should I spend?
How much do you want to spend?
Well, will give me a +3.
I don't know that you need it, honestly.
Too late. He wants a +3. Let him spend his ill-gotten loot.
I'll spend 25 GURPS. How about that? Is that enough?
Holy cow!
That's okay. That's quite a bit.
That's why I'm asking. What should I be spending?
What you need to know is what the expectations are. I think a drink in this period is probably going to be a couple of farthings. So, which would, I think that's going to come to 1 GURPS a piece for the farthings. So
I'll buy a round of beers for whoever's in that beer house to do the carousing bit, so that then all right.
So 20, 25, something like that. That's probably about right. Yeah. All right. So that'll get you a +2 on the observation.
See, I needed
very well. What about Dustin?
So it might overlap with Getwell's a little bit, but would it be possible to do research to try to find like city blueprints or general board blueprints?
That is going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, and
Do
you have
you
to
want to take that
go
much time?
someplace else.
Which is fine if you guys are willing to wait for him to do the
No,
research.
I think we want to probably retrieve the daughter with a quickness.
Yeah.
Of course, you could just assist somebody else if you don't have any better ideas.
Yeah, I'd probably would assist. I think my best bet would be to assist Murdoch with observation.
All right. You want to try to get him another one? Or you can just use observation on your own. We'll call it that. So, what is our total at this point? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are we missing anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's everybody. 7. All right, that's going to get you 3. Stand by. 3 tactics plot points.
How are those going to work in this case?
So basically, you can use those to influence the narrative in a favorable direction as needed.
Is that like
Gotcha.
re-rolling a bad
And you-
die?
And you
Or-
can use those for rerolls if you want as well.
I
All right.
remember what I needed.
What was that?
Would thaumatology be a skill that Getwell would be able to learn?
I believe so. I can't think of a
Sorry.
reason why you couldn't.
You should look in, what is it? Not Monster Hunters, Dungeon Fantasy. One.
Yep.
You're going into Cleric?
Right.
Yes.
If it should, it should be on the template.
I would have
Is
thought
it on the
that
template?
it would be standard.
I don't know. I'll look. I'm sorry. I completely
That's fine.
Thaumatology does not look like it's on the template.
Yeah.
It has
think so.
theology.
Sorry, I rabbit hole there.
What are you rabbit holing for?
I think theology could qualify for thaumatology in a religious setting, potentially. I'll just have to remember that. But that's probably not unreasonable. All right, so you guys have observed, you have made plans. You will note the blue square toward the bottom of the map there. The building below is the building in question.
Damn.
Yeah.
We just got
Get those
X-ray
bad rolls
vision.
out of the way.
Blue square. Blue square. That's not blue. That's like cyan or something.
Phil, you just referred to a color that men would call blue as
That's
it's
not
properly.
blue.
I was just about to say, men only know the colours of the rainbow.
Yeah,
That's
I know, right?
blue.
That falls into the blue category.
Look at the circle. Look at the circle that I have, or the color that Kenrick has. That's blue.
It falls under blue, thus it's blue.
No.
It's kind of falling out of blue, honestly. But whatever.
Still
Okay,
blue.
so say that again.
The building that is being pointed
Right.
to right there, that is the
Yes.
building that you are expecting her to be in.
Okay, and
Also-
that means there are.
That is the second floor of said building.
Right. So
Obviously, you don't know exactly what the hell's inside, but this is the slums.
where the
It's
hell are the doors?
pretty easy to figure out. As far as I can tell, there's only one door, and that's right there in the front.
Those things there, are they beams that go across from one building to the next?
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally know what he's thinking.
Well, there's
It
also a
makes
balcony.
perfect sense for Leo to get up there on the roof and shoot some people as they try to escape, while Kenrick and Murdoch probably go in the front door. Be like, hey, there used to be a door here.
While I'm doing there's nothing to see here.
Well, it's the slums. They're like, oh gosh, again?
Now, bear in mind when the sun goes down, and it is going to be soon, the watchmen will be start doing their patrols.
In the slums?
Yeah, they have watchmen down there too.
Do you ever read any of the Discworld books? Always in the slums.
You've already asked me that. No, remember, I didn't like them. I read a couple of them and went, nah, this isn't for me. You
Shocking
know that.
gasp.
You've known that.
I know.
Right. Well, at any rate, I'm totally thinking, because we're not the subtle types. Kenrick and Murdoch would just go right through the front door.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of options here, to be honest.
Leo
There's
can
the one
potentially
door
get on the
on
roof
the
and
bottom floor.
or maybe shoot some people on the ground. Hell, maybe Dustin can blast the door for us. So.
And also, for the
He'll feel
record,
like
in
he's
case
contributing.
somebody, specifically Leodin, was wondering, the windows here are not glass; they are horn, which basically it's like a really thick. It's a really thick paper window. It lets the light through, but it doesn't let you actually see through it. And that's pretty common in the area. Far more common than actual glass.
Should we stake out first, just to make sure we are not raiding the wrong house?
I thought that's what we were doing before, was the observation. All that was to figure out which house it was going to be.
Well, yeah, more or less.
Well, ideally, we want to confirm or get proof of life for the target, the girl. I don't know if anybody has, or either of the spellcasters, since I don't classify Leo as an actual spellcaster. I don't know if either of them have anything that would allow that or allow us to confirm that.
Can Leodin climb up to the second floor and sneak in through one of the windows?
If the windows can be opened, then yes.
Looks like they could just be use a knife and just tear a hole in it.
Well, they have shutters. You can still open the window, it's just not glass.
Right.
I think it's actually referred to as the sash. So, yeah, that's fine if you want to do it that way. Have Leodin run up and recon closely.
Yeah, let's do that. So make sure we're not being used to SWAT an enemy.
Well,
you can't trust thieves.
There are not very many windows. There's a window there.
Although, to be fair, we don't know what this girl looks like, do we?
I'm thinking probably not. You guys, nobody actually lives down this. None of you guys live down in the slums area, so you want to have been around that or in the old city. So, right, yeah. So you identified the windows. Yeah, those are the only ones I can see. So,
right. Well, in that case, we should probably just smash through. If Leo wants to go up, then he should climb up before. But I don't think he'll take very long to do so.
When it comes to Leo, it's basically going to come down to what window is he going to try to look in, and
well, the windows can't be looked through.
Well, you would have to physically go to the window and try to open it, assuming it's not cracked open already or whatever.
Living in the tropics, I'm not all that familiar with fireplaces. How well would sound travel through a fireplace? If Leo was up the top and tried to listen, could he hear people talking?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Depends on if it's a metal pipe, probably pretty well.
Well, I mean, that depends if somebody's close enough speaking to it. I mean, you can hear people talking through bathroom pipes. It's not exactly loud.
Is it the time of year that a fire would actually be set in the fireplace?
It is
No,
late spring.
we're-
Oh, speaking of which, damn, forgot that. Yeah, you are approaching summer.
So, is there smoke coming from the chimney?
Probably not. Now, I think chimneys generally have something over the top of it, but that probably won't prevent you from listening at it if you wanted to do that.
Yep, do that, and then we'll go smash in the door and kick some thief butt.
So, if you're going to do it, give me a climb roll for starters. Then I guess hearing-based perception.
What do your elf ears hear?
Alright, so Leo's going to take a little bit of extra time.
What?
He can do that.
Why are you
He is-
slowing around?
He is not a monkey man.
He's got a 13. That's pretty damn good.
Buildings close together, it's not too difficult. All right, see what you can hear.
So, do you want perception or observation?
Perception. All right, you hear multiple male voices. You can't make out what they're saying, but they just sound like they're talking.
So, how many different voices can he distinguish?
They're humans. They all sound alike.
Less, I would say fewer than 5, but definitely more than 2.
Alright, so Leo will gesture, hold his hand up, 5 fingers. Or did you say like fewer than 5? So 2 to 4? Or are we saying...
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So then Leo will hold up 4 fingers.
Well, we don't have a monk, so nobody can do a death punch.
And Leo doesn't hear any female voices at all.
Which window
Oh,
do you
how
think
does-
you're going to
how does he signal
jump
that?
into?
Well, no, that was a question to the GM. Doesn't hear any female voices.
No, you didn't hear any female voices in there. Of course, you don't know what the room looks like that you're listening into, so who knows?
So which window do you think Leodin's going to jump into?
I figure we should just kick in the door, and in that distraction, Leo can go in as he desires.
Well, it's just more for us to know so that we don't accidentally attack someone as they're coming through the window.
I think the only person we're expecting to come through the window is Leo.
Yeah, if you're expecting other people to come through the window, then our plan
Well,
has
the-
gone all wrong.
It's also know the tactics. Where is he coming from? Where should he? Which window?
Well,
is
he's
he
on
gonna
a
come-
different. He's
plan
gonna
on
be on a
coming through?
different floor.
I know that, but we're going to be going upstairs too. So where is he coming from? What's the angle? of
I'd say
attack?
we worry about that. When he
Murdoch
does it.
doesn't want to accidentally shoot Leodin.
You're not going to be shooting anything. You're going to be swinging your axe.
He's got a crossbow.
So,
Might have to cock it to one side to get it through the door.
are there any windows that have their shutters open or anything like that?
That sounds like a job for Universe Reaction Roll.
Looks
Wow.
like maybe most of them are.
Well, clearly it's been nice weather, so yeah, it looks like at least some of them have the sashes open. At
Alright.
least a little bit.
So Leo will pick the window that has the easiest access that is opened. And then he'll point that out to Murdoch. That's the window I'm coming through.
All right.
And I'll gesture back. A-okay.
He flipped him off. We know what you did.
Well, I could roll gesture to figure out if I actually screwed it up and flicked them off.
Right, so we're going to go in through the door.
Is the door unlocked?
Positions, everyone. Positions.
Which way
Wait, why
does the
does
door
Leodin
swing
have
Stack
the
open?
up.
Leodin has the wrong friggin' token.
Which way does the door swing open?
don't
Looks
care.
like
We kick
Most
it.
doors open in. Exterior doors open in.
I know, but which way? From the right side or the left
There's
side of this
a-
map? Is it swinging in?
if you
Left to
look
right,
there,
right
there's
to
a
left.
track.
You can.
So
Yeah.
Murdoch, Kenrick goes first or Murdoch goes first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm fine with that.
Swap places.
Can the GM please put Leo at the window that has been deemed the one that has the most easy access and is open?
I will allow you to choose.
Dost thou require a forced entry check?
Not yet.
Since I am aware of the map, I will remove any bias and roll the dice clockwise, starting from that one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 windows.
Yeah, it looks like 4.
That one.
And it is. All right. Well, apparently that one was wide open. So you are coming down from the roof and swinging in?
Yes.
Like a
All right.
madman.
And so he's right over the top of everybody else.
Da, da, da,
Well,
da,
almost.
da, da, da.
And that's going to be your stack right there. Is everybody in positions you want to be in?
Yep, I'm
Yeah.
watching. Make sure no one's
I'm
coming
good.
up from behind us.
Alrighty then. Let's get it on.
So we tried the door. Is it locked?
Stand by. The front door is apparently not locked. Are you approaching quietly? Or are you going in
No.
loud?
I do not do quiet
All right then.
because, I'm wearing male coif and male leggings and male shirt and male sleeves and male legs and stuff.
He's a mailman.
Got a shield and a hammer.
All right, going in loud. That makes it easier. So I suppose, how would we determine whether or not you surprised them or they heard you coming? That would be, if you're not trying to be stealthy, then that's going to be up to them. So, what is their perception like today? Kind of average, really. I think you will not get surprise, but they
That's
won't
fine.
surprise you.
I think there's a chapter in one of the dungeon fantasy books that tells you how close you can
that might
get.
be true as well.
How close you can get on a like perception roll based off your margin of success.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. It probably does have that, but I don't know where it is, so I'm not going to go look for it right now.
I will
And I'll
look
probably forget
to see if
about
I
it.
can find it.
Might as well. In the meantime, so if Kenrick is leading that particular charge and just going to go up and grab the door, then you will find it unlocked.
He's not going to be grabbing the door. He's probably going to be kicking it
just boot
in.
it.
Should keep in mind that we are expecting a trap.
Yep. That's fine. His adrenaline got up and he forgot about the trap part.
Well, in you go. So, for your turn, you're going to grab the door, fling it open, and step through.
I'm going to kick it open.
Kick it open and stand by.
Not necessary, but going to roll it anyway. Whoops.
Yeah,
You want me to help?
It's not a difficult door to kick in.
That's what I figured. Like, I just hope my foot didn't go through it in just that hole.
All right, next.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
So did you actually step into the room, or you just kicked it open?
GM said I just kicked it open.
Door is open.
So we see 3 thugs. Okay.
Yeah, you can, if you want to dart in past me, you can totally go through my my hex. I'm not going to be stopping you. I might stop the wizard, but that's because the wizard's a dummy.
All right, so Leo
Not
is
a
going to
dummy,
swing
squishy.
through.
No, Leo is waiting for them to kick the door, and he's going to wait because he's going to expect people upstairs are going to run downstairs to repel invaders.
That seems
So-
reasonable.
He will wait.
Then wait. Murdoch.
I am going to move in.
Charge madly forward, screaming and yelling.
And actually, yes, I will try to be very intimidating as I come in. I'm going to kill you all!
Yeah, with that face. It might actually work,
Can I try? Roll?
if you want.
Because with my appearance, I get, what, a +2 or something?
I think it's 3. Good God, man.
Where is she? I'm going to kill you all! Ah!
Jesus, is this going to be another one of those fights?
It might be.
Right now, I have a flashback
actually,
to the cuff scene when the dude opens the door.
He doesn't actually get a bonus on appearance. That only matters if you're hideous. You get a
Does it?
+2 if you're hideous, +3 if monstrous, or +4 if horrific.
Still
Well, it's
critical
still a crit.
success.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty sure. You're pretty sure
would
number
it-
2
yeah,
over
that-
there just. You're pretty sure number 2 over there just went number 2.
What about the other ones? They're seeing me coming. Oh, I'm going to kill you!
They're fine. They're not the one that you're chasing down.
I don't know if I'd call him fine necessarily, but whatever. Moving on.
Remember, we haven't confirmed whether they are actually the kidnappers and stuff.
I don't know. If I
This
mouse
is true.
over, it says Urban Thug as a name, so.
That could be a trick.
Is that not just the general resident here?
I'm not a thug. I'm a standard person.
We're muggers. We mug people.
Someone watches Epic NPC Man.
Oh, yeah. I watch all their stuff.
They are funny.
I'm trying to think if I watched that one. I remember seeing it.
What's
Oh,
that?
they do heaps of muggle ones.
Yeah.
Well, just taking a step up so far for this turn.
Well, you can at least see the number one over there in the chair.
Yeah, I don't want to get involved just quite yet with Kenrick and Getwell still out here.
Well, you can start spinning up something.
That's
Are they
true. I probably should
seated?
take the opportunity to spin up before the
Mhm.
fight's over.
That way you
Uh,
actually get to participate.
That is the plan. Let me see. Here we go. Improvised ice digger. Sweet. I'm a beginner rev.
Roger. All right. There we go. So they're all going to basically be doing change position at this point. They're getting out of their chairs and whatnot, including number two. Of course, number two is probably throwing his hands up in abject fear. The same goes for the dudes upstairs. They are all getting up, and they are reacting to what's going on downstairs. Although I will give number four the opportunity. Holy crap. Is Laden being intentionally stealthy up there?
Yes. Well, he stealthed up to start with.
Yeah, well, specifically as he's approaching the ledge to pop in.
Yes, he's being stealthy. Do you need
Yeah,
another roll?
I think I'm gonna need a roll for you. Thank God.
Damn.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, he rolled a damn 5, but that's
All
not
the
gonna cut it.
world is blind to his passing.
Okay, he should have seen you, but he didn't.
So Leo's standing in front of him, like waving his hand in front of his face.
And he just happened
Somebody
to never look
prowling
at you.
around here.
Uh-huh. All right, so basically everybody's getting to their feet this round. And upstairs, the guys are all orienting toward the stairs going down.
I am entering in and bellowing for them to yield. It's not quite intimidate because I don't have intimidate,
Yeah.
but that's
It's more an
he's
announcement.
he's given them the chance to surrender and not get ganked.
Well, just waiting for people to obviously move.
All right.
So, what do I see Urban Thug 2 doing?
So you're watching him get to his feet. The read on his face is, oh my fucking God, what is that?
I'm going to burn a fatigue point, do a giant step right for him, and I'm going to brandish my axe, and I say, you get on your knees or I am going to cleave your head in two.
1 second turns.
Yeah, good enough.
Something that translates to on your knees or I cleave your head.
Yeah.
So in Dwarven, it comes out as "Rah!"
So we'll consider that a continuation of the previous.
Yes.
Moving on.
Do I need a roll again, or is that just...
No.
Okay.
You also may actually smell excrement. And now the guys downstairs realize they are outnumbered.
I guess I suggest you all throw down your arms and surrender. I don't know.
With my margin crit on the intimidation, you doing diplomacy, you might actually sway them to do that.
I don't know if I can do that in a 1 second turn.
overstepping and continuing to drive.
I found the rule. It's in Dungeon Fantasy Wilderness Adventures, page 38.
Is it?
Yes, but it's more related to ambush, and it's 15,
Right.
15 minus the margin of success in a contest
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
in yards.
I probably should have said this, but as on stepping up to Thug 2, if I don't see him kneel or surrender, I will attack him.
You can't
All
move
right,
like
well, you
that
moved.
and wait.
No,
you
I
can't
did
do that
I
kind
did a giant step, burned a fatigue point, so I can still do a melee attack.
No, you can't move and wait.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh,
Now there are
okay.
some weird rules with the move and wait situation that they decided to remove that ability at some point. I think it used to be there in 3rd edition.
Okay, well, I'm basically intimidating the heck out of this guy.
Yeah. So, them, first off, let's deal with the upstairs. So they are all up and they're going to start moving toward the stairs. Which is probably going to trigger Leodin. His move.
Well, he wasn't taking like the wait. He was just waiting
Oh,
for them to
okay.
depart.
Then it will not trigger Leodin's action. Meanwhile, the other guys, so first off, number 2 is basically going to throw himself onto the floor trying to get away from this monstrous thing in front of him.
You should get your beard enchanted to look like it's on fire.
Yeah, we already did that.
Then we could just set his beard on fire.
Well, we haven't done that.
Make it look like writhing snakes.
You turned it green the other day.
Oh, that would be brutal. That would destroy me.
What, writhing snakes?
Yes, because I have a snake phobia.
Number 3 is backing away from the table and has a knife.
That's not going to do him any good.
You're not sure how determined he is to actually make use of it at this point, though. He seems to be processing that situation.
Well, considering if he's got a knife, there's a dude who's advancing toward him who's in full mail with a shield and a frickin' warhammer.
Uh-huh. And he realizes that. Number 1 over there, however, is in a less useful position. What the hell would I do in this case? So I can't get out.
He's going to dart over here to where there's a secret door.
Well,
Or
I
not.
think he is gonna step that way just to get out of the direct line. But it looks like he's probably still processing what to do. You will notice that the 2 down there, 1 and 3, are also kind of glancing upstairs, like they may be expecting backup.
Advancing, and I'm going to presume that Getwell can keep an eye on 1.
Continue to wait.
All right, so that guy in front of Murdoch has prostrated himself and is attempting to crawl away from you.
Should go over there and kick him in the butt.
Actually, I'm going to be like, do not move, and I'll
Stomp
kick
on
him
his
once.
back.
And I'll kick him once.
Are you kicking to do damage, or are you just kicking?
I'm just kicking. Do not move. Do you still want me to roll to see if I hit?
Nah, don't bother.
I move up in an intimidating fashion towards Thug One.
Are you pointing at the back fence?
Yep. With the mace. This mace, your face. Healed.
Wow, we're doing a bad job of being murder hobos here, aren't we?
I know, right?
Well, hopefully I'm going to change that, because I'm going to chuck the ice dagger at Thug 1.
What kind of murder hobo are you?
Isn't there a door in your face?
No. Yes. That is
Oh,
true.
okay.
He's got the open door there.
Okay, then I
supposedly.
won't.
At who? At 1?
Yeah.
There. So between
No,
Dustin
the
and
door is there.
right. No, that's the track. You see it's curved. It opens that way.
Yeah, and it's open.
That's where the purple line is. It shows where the door is since it's opened.
Yeah, you see the arc.
Okay. I was all right. I understand now.
Yeah, I goofed. So I will not be chucking the ice dagger.
So
I will
if you-
get the third rev, though.
Okay. Well, there is a guy crawling on the ground in front of Murdoch. You just feel the need.
Nah.
All right. Well, let's deal with upstairs first.
one is going to spring out with a flamethrower.
Let's see. So, number 5 can get down to the landing, looks like. And probably get another bit there. So we'll put him there.
What kind of weapon does he have?
Hang on. Number 6 looks like he can get down to the bottom of the stairs, so I will move him there. Yeah. Near enough. And number 4 is easily going to make it to basically the top of the stairs on the way down. For Layden's purposes, this is probably a rail here and not a hard wall or anything like that.
Okay.
So these guys' backup is at the top of the stairs. Therefore, number 3 feels less bad. Not great, though. He would really like to run away right now, but he's got not very many places to go. He is going to back up. And I'm going to call this all-out defense over here, because that seems the most applicable. Probably double. No. Dodge. Increase dodge. Number one is in a shitty place. Actually, you know what he's going to do? He's going to reach over to that chair and drag it out in front. And I have not a token to represent that. So he yanks his chair out there and interposes in between you and himself.
Watch out, it's an unexploded chair.
And I think that's everybody. Yes.
All right. Well, okay. That dude's got man. He's got a knife. Other dude 5 has what? A stick?
Yeah, they're not. These are not the most well-armed guys you've ever seen. In fact, your judgment at this point would be that whoever it is probably hired some guys off the street and said, "Here, hold this chick here."
So I'm advancing forward and once again yelling at them to yield.
Alright, this time Leo will be taking the wait maneuver, and he's going to wait until he hears the last guy sort of go downstairs.
All right.
Murdoch is going to take awake actions to see what Urban Thug 2 does. If Urban Thug does not stop moving, then
I forgot about him.
He will attack him.
You could just say he curled up into a fetal ball, then he's just not doing anything.
He kept crawling. He's not acknowledging. Let me rephrase that. He thinks whatever it is behind him is going to eat him. And he has absolutely no interest in confronting you whatsoever.
You should totally have had him roll on the fright check table.
He kind of did, really.
Oh, that's
in a way.
funny.
I didn't literally do that, but this is
if this guy
a fright result.
Yeah, if this guy survives, he's totally got the glimpses of clarity thing. He's or phobia dwarves. Phobia, anything with a beard.
I'll step forward. I'll be like, "Stop moving!" And I'll kick him again.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to hear you. I mean, he hears you, but he doesn't hear you. He doesn't understand.
You're just bullying this dude.
It's almost pathetic, really.
Yep. What's the grenade? I'm sorry.
Oh, that was
the chair. It's the comfy chair.
He moved the chair to... Okay,
yeah, he basically just yanked the chair out in front.
You should smush the chair.
Is it a... You know what? I'm going to pick up the chair and try and chuck it over my shoulder.
I don't know. I was thinking it'd be funny if you have that mace, just sort of bring it down on the chair and squish it.
No, this is a medieval chair, so it might be pretty sturdy. Could be heavy.
I got a strength of...
Captain Button has a good question in Twitch. Do female dwarves have beards in Generica?
Has anyone actually seen one?
Yeah, it's true. Have we seen a female?
In 100 years?
They don't go advertising.
So you're saying Murdoch is actually a she?
Could be.
No.
You can look under his skirt.
No. Murdoch is not a she.
I don't know what to roll here. I'm going to probably just strike.
Are you still going to do the chair?
Yeah, I'm just going to move it. I'm going to move it like down, lift it up and put it down like on the desk or basically I'm getting it out of the way.
Yeah, just get it out of the way.
Well, in this case, can I throw in a suggestion? Maybe an opposed strength check.
Because
That's what I was thinking. Like if you're grabbing one end and he's sort of in the process of handling it in the other, and you're just trying to shove it out of the way.
That works.
Well, he grabbed and tossed it. He's not still got hold of it. So I think what I'll do is go ahead and roll a strength check, and basically, if you fail, you may wrench your shoulder or something. Okay, you don't do any damage to yourself in the process of removing the chair. It is now out of the way.
Surrender!
This has got to be one of the weirdest fights we've ever had.
Because nobody's actually taken a swing yet.
Not yet. All right. Will Dustin be the first?
Indeed, and I always pick the worst seconds to take a step away.
You should stop that.
I should, but in the meantime, I'm going to step down here.
Man,
spit
when did
it
he
and,
become
do the
so
jump.
bloodthirsty?
All right. Well, so first question is, does he know you're coming? Because he didn't necessarily see you.
There was
behind
a
the
door in the way.
The answer to that is yes, he did. He will get to dodge.
It's lame.
It's probably hopeless. And it's a ranged attack, so he can't retreat necessarily. He failed by 1. Oh, before I forget, to remind you not to forget, you do still have tactics plot points in case somebody needs one. Never minding Benny's. All right, so you have struck him. Torso?
Yeah, it'll be just torso. I realized I didn't have the actual ice dagger built out as a ranged weapon, but here it is.
Way to go.
Jesus Christ!
Damn.
And
Holy
just kicks
cow.
and giggles.
Roll 1d for me.
Shot through the heart, and well, okay, maybe not through the heart, but
Not through the heart.
Still.
big
ow.
old stinking. That's ow.
That's not an ice dagger. That's like, an ice telephone pole.
You just like predated this guy.
Actually,
Whoa.
yes. That went through.
Want
that
some
blows
candy?
You can see through him now.
Let me see here.
That one is gonna scream girlishly.
I mean, wow, that's probably a death check to straight up with 2 more death checks.
So noted.
He's dead.
For the
take it.
record, he is still standing.
You nailed him to the wall.
No, he's not nailed to the wall. He's just kind of standing there looking at it. And as the ice melts and there's just nothing there anymore, it looks like at any second his knees will buckle. Well, crap, I'm going to need to change over to a different dude.
I'm stunned for 1 second.
You killed him so hard he rigor mortised in that position.
His body hasn't realized it's dead yet. All right, well, so for ease of use, thug number 2 is not heeding his instructions and appears to be trying to crawl under that desk over there. And just crying like a baby. Not really even registering that there's a knight standing there.
Mommy!
No! Don't eat me! Don't eat me! I'll be good! I'll be good!
Yeah, I wonder how Murdoch is reacting to that. Like, really? What kind of thugs are these?
That's probably not the first time he's scared the crap out of somebody. Let's see. So
Dwarves are the best. Yeah.
what is Leodin going to do once number 4 moves?
He'll enter the window.
He's just
shooting
going to
him in the butt.
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and move him, so he's going to be able to get to the top of the second landing down there. In which case, we have a huge pile up and nowhere to go.
We can say, "You're surrounded. Give up."
All right. Well, first off,
Hockey stick? What the hell's it got?
no, it's a club. So let's see. They don't know that number 1 is dead. They do know that number 2 is screaming like a little girl, and they don't know why.
They might be
I
able to
think
see
at this
Murdoch.
point, if they're behaving at least even a little tactically, their only choice here is to start backing up the stairs. Therefore,
Whoops.
he is going to continue with the all-out defense, taking his step. And because he's going backward up the stairs...
Right. Dex check. See if he falls on his ass.
Oh, he was a little stumbly. That was not graceful. So he is backing up in it. And your read of the situation at that point would be that, yeah, it looks like they're all probably going to back all the way up the stairs. Now, you'll know at this point that they're basically effectively 4-on-1. Not that they can probably do much damage to you, if any. But, so... until that situation changes, they're probably not going to falter immediately, FYI. And where did Laodin end up moving to? So you just stepped in and stayed
I figure
there.
that's about as far as Leo can get.
Probably. Give me a... He has acrobatics, doesn't he?
He does.
Do that. You didn't make a fool of yourself. Excellent. Moving on. Oop, okay.
Well, they've been given plenty of opportunities and they have failed. Step and engage at thug number 3, who is doubled? No. Plus something to dodge, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. I would like... No, that's fine. Why is this?
Use a tactic point. That's what they're there for.
I'm trying to figure what shouldn't that. I'm surprised that didn't trigger his crit fail.
It's not a...
I thought 17 to 18 always was.
17 isn't always, but your
my
effective
skill is only
only 16. Yeah, I think it should have said that.
So
yeah, I think I'm going to use one of my points, one of the points to redo that.
You going to uncrit that, or are you going to just tactics and reroll?
Just tactics and reroll.
Very well.
That's significantly better. Although he's got the bonus to dodge, so he's probably going to, dodge it.
You were prepared to have to fight upstairs.
Yep.
So he... Oh, and you're swinging it?
I am.
Okay. So he can't retreat, so all he has is that +2. And frankly, that doesn't give him a whole lot to work with. But here we go. That is a big fat fail.
Wow, that sucked. So that was a glancing blow because of his... he was stumbly.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. That was 3. So, and that was just a torso.
Yeah, just crushing.
Roger.
Ready, Bo.
All right. This guy is not... Urban Thug 2 is not listening to Murdoch. So he is now irritated. He's going
Are
to
you
jump
really
on
wasting
him.
your time on this dude?
Yeah,
Still?
he's going to
Oh
jump
my
on
gosh.
him. He's going to jump
Well-
on him to subdue him.
Don't you have like bad temper and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
think he
so it
does.
does sort of make sense, Mark.
It's
Kenrick's
kind of more
fine.
sadistic, isn't it?
Wrestling or brawling?
To do what?
I'm going to jump on him to subdue him.
Well, if you're just going to jump on him, you can just jump on him. That's fine. He's not actively resisting at this point, other than to try to crawl away. So,
That
I
could work.
guess-
Yeah, we have somebody to interrogate.
I guess what you could do there is, you do have wrestling, don't you? Yeah.
Yes, I do. I have wrestling and I
So-
have brawling.
Go ahead and make a wrestling roll. Basically, you're doing a leg wrestle by straddling him across the back. All right, so you've got hold on him.
He's probably
What is
screaming
your
more like
what,
a baby.
what
I
is
did
your
it!
thrust damage? Is 1d.
Now he's convinced he's about to get eaten.
Roll a 1d plus 2. Just as a rough guess. All right, so you got 5 control points on him. Oh, you know what? I need a control points thing. Not that it matters terribly in this case, but I'll just use fatigue. Wait, no, that's 5. All right, yeah, so you hop across his back and try to pin him down.
Absolutely convinced he's about to get eaten now.
Oh, yes. That did not make the screaming any quieter.
I stare at this poor guy who just got a huge hole blown through him. With
You
the
have to roll
spear of
against
ice.
the will, Mark.
This is my
You've-
first round being stunned.
No. Oh, okay, right.
He's starting to lean forward a little. And you know what's going to happen when he falls. That damn ice pick is going to pop right out his back.
Wait, no, it went through.
Don't do it.
It went through.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's sticking out from behind. It didn't actually leave the body necessarily, but then again, I
hell,
don't know how
Joel?
big that ice pick is.
Cowboy the hell up.
So that's that wall. Does that go all the way up, or is that a partial wall?
Oh, yeah. Can he
Whoa.
see
Oh.
Can he see like Thug 4 and Thug 6 and stuff where he's
There's
at?
definitely a bookshelf there. I'm going to say that's a full wall.
Full wall. Okay.
Ethan, I'd probably recommend brightening up your token color, because I just can't see your line, your arrow.
Okay.
You need to be a different color than everybody else. Be
But
green.
I've started to like blue. It's like one of the only colors I like. That's
It
not.
can't be
well,
blue.
black.
I'm blue.
You guys can fight over it.
You can always use light red.
Or orange or green.
How's that? Is that better, or is that still terrible?
That's worse.
That's
Oh,
the
jeez.
what? I don't know if you
Yeah.
brighten that up a little bit, it might work.
Don't go cayenne, because that's the GM's color.
Yeah, go cayenne. Go magenta. Or puce.
Well, I mean, this color is kind of fluidic. Yeah.
You're saying words I don't
sure.
understand the meaning of.
Okay,
Yeah,
the, G-
yeah,
looks
the
fine.
I don't know
GM
what
can
I
change.
don't know what puce is.
I thought that was a kind of soap.
Yeah, it sounds like something you
That's
do
pumice.
when you're sick.
Oh well. This is why I work in cybersecurity and not soap. Anywho, turn-wise.
Yeah.
with
yeah.
that, I
Can
don't
you
wanna hurt
actually
myself.
see those?
Yeah, if
Right,
that's
so
a full wall.
He does have a line of sight issue there. He could
Well, what if
potentially
he
see
moves
3,
there?
but well, that's a separate matter. You could potentially see 3 from there, but you've also got Sir Kenrick in between you and him.
Well, that's fine. I'll just move up here and then do ye old revving.
And he forgot how to say the words.
Yeah, he was so stunned by his success that he assumed he could do it
No,
easily the
no,
second
it's
time.
that dude that that Murdoch is wrestling with. He's screaming so loud it's distracting you.
There you go. Yeah, blame it on someone else. There you go.
Get it off! Get it off!
2 is basically all he is doing is trying to crawl. He's attempting to dig his fingers into the floorboards so he can pull himself forward and get under that desk. That is the only safe place in the world right now.
And Murdoch will not allow it to happen.
Murdoch's gonna eat him.
Everybody else is downstairs. All right, so Sir Kenrick took a swing and he actually connected with number 3 over there. It wasn't, super hard, which he feels rather lucky about. At this point, they are all going to start backpedaling up the stairs. 6 will hang back and allow that move to happen. And that means I need 1, 2 rolls on the other thing. Dex. 1. Good. 2 at the top of the stairs. Not good.
Filthy thieves.
Okay. The comedy of errors continues as the guy at the top of the stairs falls over.
So Leo is gonna see his head bob up and hear the guy go whoop. Thump.
And that's their go. Okay.
All right. Well, is that still valid?
Second. Oh, yeah, it is. He's really the only one in a position to defend at this point.
Let's see. You only need to make the dex thing if you're going backwards, right?
I'm
or more than
assuming,
one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another big roll.
Yeah.
All right. Can he get out of the way of this? Seems unlikely to me, but
I don't know.
that is a no. He keeps trying. That's probably going to hurt.
Better.
All right, and that's on number 3, torso again.
Yep.
Okay, now you probably broke something. And by. He's still holding on, though.
Ready the arrow.
Fast drawing arrows. All right. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, you can see right down the stairs, right at him. And the thug number 4, his head is basically at your feet right there, and
Dude,
he's
that's
looking
perfect.
up at you.
That's perfect. Look, if you shoot perfectly, you can get all 3 of them with one arrow.
If his head is at Leo's feet, is he looking up? So is he looking up
he
to
is
see
looking
Leo?
right up at you.
Then Leo is going to lower his arrow tip to right in front of his face.
Mm-hmm.
Murdoch is going to continue to try to, subdue this guy. He wants to either knock him out or
Sleeper hold.
Sleeper hold.
All right. So what you can do at this point is you can put him in a hold. I think at this point what you would do is just increase your control points on him. So you'd roll your wrestling again, and if you make that roll and he fails to defend, which he's not attempting to defend, then you roll your control points again. The more control points you build up, the harder it is for him to get out. All right, so you failed to improve your hold at all at this point.
But
But you're still there. You still have the
Okay.
control points that you have.
Got it.
So you're still struggling with him. He's wiggling.
And I am kind of laughing manically at this point.
Oh. Yeah. Get well. The number one does indeed fall forward. His head lands roughly at your feet, and the ice pick just pops right out the back.
I turn away. Oh my gosh, Dustin!
Totally gonna look at it and go, what?
It's a new trick I picked up in my spare time.
I mean, that ice pick was clear. You could clearly see everything inside of him.
Well, don't look if it worries you.
It's too late.
All right, Dustin, do something cool.
I'm gonna try to fling this semi-charged dagger at this guy.
Did you actually start it again?
No,
Oh,
you
no, that's
failed,
right. Yes, it failed to charge. That's right. I remember what happens in my turns. Totally. Yep.
Uh-huh. We see how it is.
I'll take it.
You tried to fail.
Success by 0 is still success. I'm taking it.
So he starts to build out another one. Unfortunately, the thugs didn't actually see number one go down with that thing, so they don't know how scary that is. Holy God, by the way. All right, number two is still trying to crawl. You're afraid this guy is never going to actually fully mentally recover from this. Number four, who is laying at Laodin's feet, says, looks up at Laodin and says, "Parlay?" Number five, however, is actually aware of what's going on upstairs and now realizes that they are, in fact, very, very boxed in. At this point, they will all surrender.
Good choice. Good choice.
Because frankly, there's no way they could survive this at that point.
Nope.
Well,
Murdoch's going to be rifling through Urban Thug's two pockets for gold and steal any money he has.
Stop it! I give him a
He's like,
disapproving.
I got you. Give me your money.
he's not going to
Might
resist
even
at
take
all.
a bite.
He's not going to do a damn thing but keep trying to crawl under that
Here,
desk.
give me your arm. I want a bite.
I think you broke Paul, not the NPC.
Yeah, Paul is enjoying this way too much.
Yeah.
I love it, man. That is fun. That is so perfect. I mean, it's just, you gotta. That's a biddy moment. Come on.
Maybe.
Right. So, gonna round these idiots up. Sands their weapons.
You will confirm your earlier suspicions that these are just guys that somebody hired off the street in a bar
Who
somewhere.
hired?
They do not know who. It was some guy in a black hood paid them to sit on this chick and
You
not
sat
let anybody
on a
else
woman?
hear. Not directly, figuratively. Come on.
So somebody hired them.
Is
Was
she
like
upstairs?
great fame and wealth unimaginable promised to them.
Do we find the woman upstairs?
Was it? They didn't promise me that. There is,
Yeah,
in
that
fact,
was-
a woman
yeah.
upstairs.
Did we get a name for the person we're supposed to be looking for?
Vesta.
Vesta, right. Well, we'll make
Can't
sure
remember
that
if
it's
I
like.
actually said that.
Well, I knew the name because I was looking at the wiki and saw that was the name, but I didn't want to throw it out there if we didn't know it. But apparently we did. Yeah, make sure that she is Miss Vesta. I was about to say Vespa.
Yeah, so as I said, I don't think any of you would actually recognize her, but she does answer to the name Vesta. And she holds herself very high at this point, like her feathers are barely ruffled, like this wasn't a big deal.
We have been sent to rescue you, madam.
Well, thank you, Sir Knight.
This
is your future husband.
Responsible? What?
Say again?
Ignore everything the dwarf says. It's for the best. Yeah, make sure that these
Have high enough blood for him.
make sure these the thugs didn't like harass her or anything.
She sees the dwarf and says, "Oh, you poor thing. Did they do that to you?"
Yes, they did.
Why is that one crying?
I don't know.
He's losing it. Right. So we need to turn these thugs over to the watch then.
Right. I was
kidnapping.
in the process. She said, "Yeah, it's lucky for them they didn't lay hands on me. Father would certainly hunt them down, cut off their hands, and feed them back to them." And when she says that, you see a little spark of Daddy's little villain in her eyes.
Capo.
That's the
Boss
Capo. Dude.
Yeah, she's the daughter of the Thieves Guild boss.
The guy who speaks with the really low voice.
Yeah, I remember now.
She says, "But I wonder what desperation drove them to this business. Would they rather not have honest work?" In the meantime,
might be a good idea.
So, how are you securing them?
The room that she was in, was it locked?
It was. It was padlocked from the outside.
Okay.
Before we call the watch, my greedy nature will get the best of me. I'm going to search for any kind of goodies.
What are you doing?
You had the run of that guy that you were sitting on, so if you wanted his purse, you have it.
It's the slums.
As far as the building itself goes, it's the slums. There's nothing worth selling in here.
Okay, so how much do I get off
these guys
get off the guy? How much do I get off of Urban Thug 2?
I'll deal with that later.
Okay.
It's not as much as you would like.
A piece of moldy cheese and a couple coppers.
Yeah, they wouldn't even get paid a crown. They probably got paid 10 pence for this.
Right. Yeah, I would like to turn these jackholes over to the watch.
Okay. So, at this point, the sun will be down, and the watch will be about. If you basically stick your head outside and raise the hue and cry for the constable, then at some minutes later, someone will arrive in some kind of authority.
And yeah, I'll immediately, explain the situation that, these are foul scumbuckets. They're not villains, because villains actually has a meaning in this era. I think it's like landowning peasants.
Yeah, someone that lives in a village is a villain.
Right. Anyway, at any rate, these miscreants had abducted this lady, and they should be carted off to prison or whatnot.
The constable is not the most amazing specimen of human you've ever seen, but as he approaches, he sees Vesta and he says, "Oh, Madam Mistress Vesta, are you okay? Are these men harassing you? No, we're fine. We're fine. They're going to take me back to my father.
I'm already regretting turning these dudes over to this guy.
Well, honestly, the job of the constable in the city here is a rotating duty that everybody has to perform, and they generally don't want to. So,
You said duty.
Yeah, the fact that the constable isn't the best specimen of human is because that's the pool you have to work with down here. But so it's not unusual necessarily.
Right. Well, turn them over. They're except for the corpse. Although I guess
Yeah,
he
the
goes with
corpse
them
is
too.
another matter. Yeah, he'll end up having to go fetch the bailiff or something to deal with the dead guy.
But as Urban Thug 2 is being escorted out, or as we're handing him over, Murdoch's going to go boo one more time as he's going by.
I'm going to totally have to give him a disapproving look.
Poor number 2 is catatonic and smells of feces.
Right. Do they need us to remain here for the bailiff?
The constable will get your names and will send for you if they need to. And we'll bid Mistress Vesta good night.
Very good.
So, at this point, would I be correct to presume that you will head straight back to the Thieves Guild with Mistress Vesta?
I
Correct.
believe that's what we were charged to do, yes.
As you begin to proceed, she will stop you and say she would like to go by St. Charitas first and let the sisters there know that she's okay. She happened to have been snatched outside that church while helping minister to the poor earlier this evening, and the scene must have greatly distressed them.
That sounds fine to me.
Lead on, my lady.
So
Get
it is.
will nudge Kenrick. It's beautiful and pious.
Disapproving look.
I look at Getwell. Again, I was right. Future husband.
It is a little out of the way. The Thieves Guild is in the East Wall ward, and St. Charitas is in the Bathhouse ward, but it's in the same part of the old city, so nothing is terribly far away from anything else around here. You guys it'll take a little bit, and the sun's gone down, so you're having to deal with darkness, but you get there, she knocks on the door, some nuns come out, and there are embraces and well wishes, and thanks to the gods for her rescue.
You stand awkwardly off to one side and wait until she's done. Keeping an eye out so nobody comes and snatches her again.
I wonder if any of them would recognize Brother Getwell.
Universe reaction.
Probably not. Oh, that's a good idea.
They're going to totally give him a disapproving sniff.
Let's make Ethan do it.
Because he never does anything. He's too quiet!
What were we needing?
Reaction roll.
Reaction roll.
The universe is cold and
Did
uncaring.
that actually do something? Why is
Neutral.
that was weird? Whatever. Yeah. No, none of the nuns there are familiar with or to Brother Getwell. He probably doesn't get down this far this far south in the city all that often. Actually, I say that he has to pass through here all the time going to the Abbey, so
Probably
maybe that's
does.
not true.
I'm sure there's some nuns of looser moral character than always looking
Surely.
for.
I did find myself wondering where the that one that got him in trouble is stationed. But never mind that. As you
There's the
guys,
nun that got him in trouble.
yeah, that's in his backstory.
Yeah.
I don't remember his backstory. I don't remember anybody's backstory but mine.
But he has one. Yeah, so as you leave St. Charitas and head northward to the Thieves Guild, you are passing through some of the darker streets there, and what appears to be a beggar wanders out in front of you, mumbling to himself, and he approaches the group, mumbling something about the widow's son.
His mother was once a beautiful woman.
He at that he responds that the informer in the black hood has visited both sides. At which he will jingle his cup.
Right. Pity I have, I literally said I left all of my
I'll
money
take
there.
the purse that I took off the urban thug and I'll give it to him.
Excellent. God's bless you, sir. And he will wander off.
Don't worry,
Mumbling
it's called
to himself.
redistribution of wealth.
Oh God, it's a communist dwarf. We're gonna have to put him down. That way it doesn't spread.
So, back at the Thieves Guild Hall, you will approach the door and knock, and the door will open, and you will find that it is quite busy actually right now after dark.
Of course it is. It's after dark and they're thieves.
They come
There
out
is-
mostly. They mostly come out at night.
Mostly.
There is a rather large commotion going on in the Great Hall right now, as the Thieves Guild have been visited by the steward of Burrow Hill,
Inconceivable.
Vigo Gamby, and his entourage, and they are currently arguing with Boss Capo about an inconceivable kidnapping of his son. And each side is accusing the other of treachery and very nearly coming to blows. Meanwhile, Jugger is standing across, looking menacingly at another very large, very unfriendly-looking fellow on the halfling side, who is very much not a halfling.
I don't know. I was thinking that'd been really funny if he was.
Clearly, the kingdom
he
of
doesn't
Gilda
fit in.
is behind all this.
And lost my place. Sorry. So anyway, they're arguing, they're posturing, and then suddenly Capo realizes that Vesta is here.
Yeah, because
and
I was going to
everything
totally have to go.
The argument is briefly interrupted by Vesta's arrival, and there's a moment or two of relief and embracings and all that stuff. And after which the accusations continue. So Capo is accusing Vigo of having kidnapped her, and Vigo says, "Well, you certainly didn't find any of my people there. My people would not have been so careless."
Your
And-
people were wimps.
The men responsible we turned over to the constable.
Well, that
Along the
doesn't
way-
bother me.
Along the way, we have learned that, what was it, the hooded man?
Yes, hooded man, black hooded man.
Black hooded man had visited both sides, so it would seem to appear that someone is playing the two of you against one another.
Vigo says that indeed he had been visited by a black hooded man who gave him the location of, who sold him the location of his son Guido, and he was just about to unleash the full force of his mighty organization upon whoever is holding him. And he was in the process here of letting Capo know in case he would rather surrender than see his men slaughtered.
Where's your
Capo.
son supposed to be held?
So
Let's
Let me
see.
process
How
for
do
a
we
second.
approach that? Who's our diplomancer? Isn't it?
That'd be
Getwell?
I.
yes. So
I'm wondering
the
if you should
situation
step
is
in and volunteer us.
so the
I
situation
think
is
I'm.
the two of them have been sold the location of someone who was kidnapped by the same guy, and the halflings are missing the boss's son, and he has got the information about where he's being held, and you know that it's the same guy doing the both. So the two parties are somewhat surprised that they had been played this way and are at a bit of a loss how to handle that
Who
without
benefits
just
from,
resorting.
who benefits from having you at one another's throats?
Now,
Should have get well diplomats and try to maybe
Yes,
offer to go
that's
get
exactly
the.
what I'm thinking.
Do you mind if we go do it?
We're of a neutral party. We can return, make an attempt to return his son, and in doing so, hope to bring light to who this third nefarious party is.
one of the other halflings, clearly
God.
the boss's number 2, says to the idea of your help, says, "We don't need any guild meddling in our business. The Gamby family takes care of its own affairs."
You should look at him and say, "That's a very fine hat."
To which Vigo says, "Exactly, and we are not restricted by the agreement, as we have not foolishly signed on to it."
Which is exactly why you should let us do it for you.
But we can also get to places, and we have, options available to us that you do not.
We have Robar.
They have
Robar
Chugger.
just looks at you and nods.
They have me.
What can you do that he can't?
Ask the thug that is in mental counseling right now.
I don't know. I was thinking Dustin should sort of sit there and start having lightning or something, crawling around his hand.
I don't think I have a thing for that.
Or summon a mini tornado
You
just
gave
in your
up on the
hand.
lightning, didn't you?
Did, yeah.
certainly you've got something that will demonstrate that you're a wizard. Castor.
Let me. I think it's.
But yeah, at any rate, I do think while if he does that, actually Getwell might be able to do the same thing too. Yeah, you could like do the light thing.
Yeah. Or kind of trying to think. I have, set my weapon aflame. We have skills and powers available to us that, make us nightmares for the people who who do things like kidnapping.
And Murdoch
with that,
snickers at the notion of nightmares.
and he'll strike his flint ring against his mace and cause it to flare up.
Oh, I know what I can do. Dustin will hawk a loogie.
What did you do that for?
Spit acid.
Yeah,
what are you going to spit it at?
Oh, there's ground nearby. I'll spit at the floor or something.
We're on the second floor,
And it starts
aren't we?
sizzling.
It'll be fine.
No, you're in the Great Hall, but there is a basement here, so...
Somebody screams after the die.
That was not my intent.
That'd be a universal reaction. I'll see if someone actually gets hit by it by accident.
A handful of folk in the Great Hall at this point, do the little golf clap. Very impressed. But Vigo says, "Well, that's all well and good, but you're not going to use those very great skills for free, are you?"
We have already been paid. Our objective was to resolve this situation.
Technically, this wasn't part of your deal, but...
I'm altering the deal. I don't alter it any further.
I don't know what he's saying, but yeah, we would want some kind of compensation.
We're already being compensated.
No, we are getting compensated for freeing Vesta, not necessarily this guy's son. Just because we can do it better doesn't mean we shouldn't get paid.
Dwarves. Actually, what did Jocko tell us? I'm trying to remember what all he said.
I believe all he instructed was to get Vesta back, so technically he didn't know about this.
Did he? Oh, yeah, I'm not going to know that.
So we're only getting paid to free Vesta so far. So we're going to get compensated. So
Well,
freeing Vigo's son.
You're only
if
being
they
paid
pay
by the
us.
Thieves Guild. Or
Yeah.
you're only being paid by the Heroes Guild to rescue Vesta. You technically already completed that mission. This
So
would
now
Yeah, that's
definitely
fine.
be
New one.
extra. Now, I would remind everybody that the Heroes Guild has been having PR issues, and they would certainly like to have more useful clients in the future.
Yeah, and I have no idea how we go about phrasing that.
Can I use the Merchant's Guild just to see if we could haggle some kind of, free, rescue price?
This is not the point for that.
Yeah, I think in this case, this would be
They have not offered to pay you.
Yeah, this is a diplomacy sort of thing where it's like we're trying to go, hey, we're just trying to stay or be mediators here, because I believe it was as Getwell had stated that we are neutral in it, neutral
Mhm.
party.
So Getwell, why don't you roll diplomacy and see if you can turn their
Yeah,
reaction more
I'll
positive?
just start rolling stuff. So, does the group have as an objective getting the Halfling Mafia to allow you to assist them? Is that the objective?
Yes.
Okay. So we have an objective. How will
Trying
you
to improve
what
our
is-
PR.
What will you appeal to get them to allow you to help? So you've brought up your skill set. That was not really in question, but you've at least demonstrated that, so they know what you're capable of. At least
Doesn't
as far
put
as magic
any of
goes.
his doesn't put any of Vigo's people in danger.
Okay. So
And
you're
this is what the Heroes Guild does.
So you're offering to take the arrows for them.
Yeah. None of them, well, other than Jugar, looks like none of them are wearing anything resembling armor.
Well, I'm sure they could go fix that. And there are other people here, but you don't know what the you don't know what the Gambi's troop strength is, for lack of a better term, at this point. But yeah.
That's the offer, I suppose. It's like, hey, let us take care of this.
All right.
Prove our worth.
That would seem like a diplomatic approach. Unless somebody has a better idea, we can go with that.
No, I think it's diplomatic is probably the thing. I'm wondering. I'm wondering if I want to jump in there and try to help, because I got an 11, and that's not great.
Well, there might be other ways to assist. So we are going to go with diplomacy then.
But
Murdoch who's going to take the lead on that?
I would say Brother Getwell.
Probably Getwell, because he's our diplomancer.
Murdoch might jump in from time to time because he still wants some compensation. So
also he interrupts.
Exactly. And if he could use like merchant skill to sneak in, like, well, maybe 5 gold or 10.
No, you got to get them to agree to actually pay you before you can start haggling over the price. And that hasn't happened yet. But so, did Mark run off?
He's these.
That's appropriate.
Slacker! He's not responding.
Looks like he's back.
Okay. All right, so
come on, man.
Getwell's going to take the lead on the diplomacy roll.
Yes, since I probably have the highest. I was either or public speaking, but
right. Well, I mean, I guess you could sort of do a rousing hero speech if you wanted to do it that way. I would allow that. So I'll allow either diplomacy or public speaking if you'd prefer. So Getwell will take the lead on that. Kenrick is talking about assisting.
Yeah, I'm not likely to actually be of much help there. I've got an 11. That's too close to me being probably like failing on it.
But even if you fail diplomacy, it doesn't change the reaction of anybody. That's the nice thing about diplomacy.
It won't make it
worse. If I'm
won't
assisting,
improve, but it gives you a chance to improve.
If I'm assisting, if I fail, it will.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
the thing is. Yeah, that's the thing is I don't want to make Mark's check worse.
So, does Murdoch have any way that he would like to contribute to the diplomacy effort that isn't haggling over the price?
The only thing I could think of is maybe carousing, loosen them up with a couple beers.
Yes, probably isn't the time or place for that.
And
but it's
otherwise,
okay if you don't.
I could just be standing behind Brother Getwell being intimidating and to help.
That's fine. You don't have to contribute. I'm just giving you the opportunity. And sometimes it's more risky to actually try to contribute if you don't have a high enough skill to actually pull something off.
So
But in this case, you don't want to intimidate them into letting you help.
So probably not at this time. Nothing at this point.
All right. So does Leodin have anything he wants to contribute?
Nope.
Didn't think so. How about Dustin?
Not particularly.
Doesn't
Alright.
Dustin have diplomacy?
Actually,
Oh, he does at a 12, yeah.
That's
well, yeah.
good.
Oh
pretty
wow,
good.
yeah.
Alright,
then
yeah.
you should probably do that. Yeah.
Diplomatize.
All right.
All right,
So Brother Getwell gets a +1.
You can actually get a 4 on top of that.
Oh, well, there you go.
All right, so
Why a
that
4?
is going to be because you said the magic words. So,
We did?
yeah.
What magic words did we
I'll-
say other than please?
talk about that later. So you guys appealed to allow you to take the arrows instead of their people, and you made it sound like that they're not actually losing anything out of this, that they're not necessarily going to be required to give up anything to get this service. So you will eventually relent.
The first one's always free.
There is a bit of sarcastic back and forth in that regard, but he will ultimately say, yeah, I'll let you guys go ahead.
Fantastic. Where do we go?
The,
What about the money?
location that he was given is a brew house called the Red Rondel. And that is in the Eastwall Ward, so it's pretty close by.
Excellent. All right. Very well, company. Let's go retrieve this. Can we get a description of this fellow so we know who we're looking for?
He's about yay haul, curly hair, looks confused and lost. Yeah, he's a halfling, but he's 30 years old or something like that, but he's a halfling, so he looks like a kid. But he'll make a stab at describing what clothes he might have been wearing at the time. Some other guys will pitch in and say, no, he was dressed like this when he got taken. So you'll get a rough idea. As I said, his name is Guido Gamby.
Guido, right. You said
right.
It was the Red Rondel?
Red Rondel.
Anybody know where that is?
Brother Getwell can make a universe roll, and if he rolls really good, he might have been there.
That's if Brother Getwell was around to make the roll.
Yeah, he may have fallen asleep again. We'll get back to it then.
Brother Getwell.
Never mind.
Say again?
Yeah, universe.
Okay.
Hell you doing?
Sorry, there was other sounds coming. I heard you, but I didn't hear the get well.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
there we
a
go.
lie. He was off, goofing off.
I would say with that roll that you haven't been to the Red Rondel, but you're familiar with it. It's not in the part of town you visit all that often, but you are familiar with the ale houses of the city to a certain
Very
degree.
good. Very good. Well, let's go get this Guido.
All
Do
right.
they offer any pay?
They did not.
No, we volunteered to take care of this.
Oh,
That was the secret. That was the special. That was the please.
grumble, grumble, grumble. Oh,
That greed will eat you alive.
it's serving my pockets for now.
And it's going to get you into trouble.
Grumble, grumble.
All right, so back out into the old city. Same ward that you're already in, so it's not that far. And it's a similar scene as this. One of these places is an ale house. You can see the Red Rondel sign. Of course, it's dark, so you're seeing it by firelight.
Can we
Well, if
take
it's an ale
a
house,
break
then-
before we continue further?
We could.
No, we can't.
It would be a reasonable break point if we need to. In fact, I very much need to myself.
Thank you.
So we will take a quick intermission and come back.
All right, we're back.
Yay. Okay. You were in the East Wall Ward well after dark, and you are currently approaching the area of the Red Rondel Ale House and deciding what to do about it. I would add that the information you were given about Guido location was that he was being held in the basement.
Well, it's an ale house. That means you can probably just send the drunks in.
Now, the first thing you are going to notice as you approach up the street from it is that there are still people there.
Of course, they're
Drinkers
getting drunk.
still there. So, recon?
Do we have a
Recon
map of
sounds
the
like
inside?
Sounds like a good idea to recon.
I've heard some people recommend recon in the past.
Just sometimes.
On occasion.
So, let's just start down the line again then. So, Dustin, how are you going to contribute to the tactical situation? Side note, while you're thinking about that, so basically once the sun goes down is curfew, and any strangers to town that are caught out on the streets are typically arrested and held until morning. You guys being Heroes Guild, you typically have certain permissions to be out and about at night with weapons that other people might raise eyebrows at normally. It's not unusual necessarily for people to be around, but there's not going to be very many. Most people are going to go home and douse their lights.
How dark is the street?
Oh, meant to check. Let's see, we got a quarter moon. So it's going to be relatively dark. There are, at least, for example, like with the ale house, there's actually activity going on inside. So they've got lights on or torches lit and that sort of thing. Otherwise, it's a clear night with the quarter moon. So the light's it's not like stumbling around dark, but it's not like a full moon either.
More than night vision 5?
A little bit, yeah.
So, like -6 or -7 sort of thing.
Actually, 5 might be about right. I think 5 is right until I discover otherwise.
Well, Leo will
Well, that means
observe.
me and Leodin are not hindered by the conditions.
The benefits of not being humans. All right, so back to Dustin. How shall he contribute?
I'm leaning towards observation, just trying to keep eyes open, see what I can pick up.
All right. You can go ahead and roll observation if you want.
I'll take that.
Indeed. Get well.
You said
Gonna
quarter
ask-
moon?
Yeah, quarter.
Quarter moon is -6 according to power-ups. GURPS powers enhance senses.
According to tactical shooting, it's going to be between 5 and 6, so 6 probably is right.
So -1 for perception for Leo then.
Yep.
I'm going to, based on the area, like other avenues of approach.
Okay. Oh, doing that again. Oh noes! With the fail, but that +7 is probably going to offset that.
Still have tactical
Plus
points
7?
we can use?
Say what?
Can we still use tactic points from previous?
Nope.
That's what we're building from.
Yep, you're starting over with that. All right. What about Kenrick? Ah, right. Tactics. All right. Settled. Murdoch.
It's a tavern. I'll probably go in and
Just go in and start drinking.
start drinking and socializing.
This case, I would allow the carousing because this is directly related. And apparently he was too busy drinking. Laden. All right. Yeah, I suppose Dustin's observation would have been offset by the darkness. At least somewhat. All right, what do we got here? So 6, 3, 7. I have to take that.
I thought.
All right, looks like we got 2. Yeah.
Yay!
We have 2 tactics plot points to use to rescue Guido from the Red Rondel. All right. How shall you proceed? I will tell you that this is a standard house, kind of like the one you just left. Very similar, except the room downstairs is set up for people to drink at. There probably is a back door, though, in this case, if you wanted to do a two-pronged approach. But, as I said, there are patrons still drinking in the establishment.
Is there an external cellar door?
There is not. That would have been way too easy.
Yeah, other than just going in there and Jedi business, go back to your drinks. That's a good way to get jumped.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can go in and press your authority and just demand to see the cellar.
How much legal enforcement does Kendrick actually have? Could
0.
we literally walk in and say, well, you do have a certain amount of privilege.
I'm a bastard born Knigget.
You still have
He
status
does not-
too, though, right?
He has some status, yeah. No, he doesn't have any actual legal enforcement powers at this point. He's not in charge of anything. Except maybe, the household.
Do we have a map
really.
of the inn?
Now, as a Heroes Guild, you guys will get a little leeway if you come in and say, we're the Heroes Guild, we're here to help. On the other
That's
hand,
what
they're
we
up to no
should do.
good.
Is there a map of the inn?
There is not.
I think we should do the We're the Heroes Guild thing. And we have people waiting at the back door for those that might try and make an escape.
We're the Heroes
So we go-
Guild, and we're here operating on behalf of both the Thieves Guild and, was it Boss? What the hell is his name? Vigo or Gambly?
Gamby.
Gamby.
All right. So, who is on which side?
During the carousing, Murdoch will perch himself by the back door.
And I can enter through the front door.
Leo will be around the back as well.
All right. Let's assume this building is the effective one. So,
What
if
building?
the street is, I have an arrow. If the street is the front, then the alley
Can you
would be the
reshare,
back.
please?
Yeah, can you reshare? Because I looks like I closed.
Apparently, I need to reshare.
Okay.
All right. So Kendrick is at the front. Leodin's at the back. Who else is where?
I'm at the front.
Then Dustin will take the rear as well.
All right. And Murdoch, who's
I'm at the
technically
back door.
already inside.
I'm inside, but at the back door.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a public speaking thing there. For Getwell.
All right. You guys will then. Are you waiting for anything in particular? Are you looking for something, or are you just going to walk in and get to it?
Walk in and get to it.
Walk in and get to it. All right. So the Getwell and Sir Kenrick walk in the front door, and Murdoch is already there, sort of leaning toward the back. How shall you proceed? There is somebody there is working. This is not like a standard bartender kind of situation. This is just a public house. So there are tables out there. There are people drinking, and there's a guy who's running back and forth, bringing stuff out.
Wouldn't have any kidnapped hobbits around here, would there?
I don't know. I was thinking it'd be like, come in there and you sort of clear your throat with the, your attention, please. We're here on a mission for the Heroes Guild at behest of bosses Capo and Gambly with regards to a missing halfling. Please cooperate and we will be out of your hair immediately.
We're on a
perfect,
mission
I
from
guess.
God.
Have a pleasant day, evening, whatever.
Have a pleasant insert time of day.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Tell you what. So is Getwell going to do the public speaking for that? I guess that would count.
It seems
Holy
like
God.
the logical thing there. His voice is going to carry.
So basically, you step in there, you speak, and all the guys at the table just kind of look at you and then look back at their drinks.
Cue for your cooperate.
There may be some agreeable grunts or something like that. Whatever.
And then I guess tell the other dude, like, we need to get into the cellar, please.
You find the proprietor and tell him you need to get into the cellar. He is
Politely.
okay. So you know that there is actually someone in there. So I won't beat around the bush here. He will say that there's no such thing going on here.
Then you will
And
have
we-
no problem
yeah.
showing us into your cellar.
And bosses Capo and Gambly dispute this assertion.
It's funny to me that you keep saying Gambly.
Is it not Gambly?
No, it's Gamby. There's
Gamby,
no L.
okay.
When you kept getting annoyed at people for adding the D in Kenrick.
That's because there's no D in it. And he's a halfling.
Murdoch will open the back door and let Leodin and Dustin in.
All right. You are going to call the proprietor on his BS.
Yes, we are.
Are you going to take a general reaction for that, or are you going to influence him?
Probably going to intimidate him.
Well,
Kenrick wants
before
to.
Murdoch gets his chance to go all bizarre, bug nuts crazy on this guy, I will attempt to tell him that, making this go easy will go quite well for you by using actual diplomacy.
Well, while that's happening, Murdoch is starting to advance. So
Getwell talks really fast. All right, so your approach is that this is going to go a whole lot easier if you just let us go, and otherwise there will be blood. And not in an intimidating way, but in a sort of matter of fact, let's not do this way.
There's enough hurt in the streets.
We've already driven one guy into catatonia.
Killed another.
Yeah, it's a
And
whole
spiked
other
one guy
land.
through the chest.
And they
That's
may have
good.
actually heard about it.
And he will very sheepishly sort of nod in a direction and step out of the doorway.
Thank you kindly, neighbor.
You will then open the trap door that opens into the cellar. Actually, you don't have to open it. It's already open because he keeps going in and out of there, as it is his job. As you, as you descend the stairs, you'll find two similar thugs from before, and one halfling fitting the description of the one that you had of Guido.
Ah, there you are, Guido. We've come here to return you back.
You also find that there are a lot of mugs, and they seem to be empty.
They're all drunk.
You will also make note that the reactions of said thugs are a little slow. But they do stand quickly and bristle
And then
at
wobble.
your appearance.
Do we really have to do this? One of your number is already dead tonight.
I'm gonna get you.
Murdoch
You couldn't get a fish in your current condition. good sir.
Murdoch's gonna basically point his axe at the two people and say, "I dare you try. I will have your kidneys for food."
We
That's a
don't
pretty
come
cool
now.
map. I
You
like
need to
that
be
map.
returned. It's you have no reason to be here. You have no firm ground to stand upon.
I have the higher ground. Oh God! Did one of them?
He takes a
fall?
step and falls on his face.
Yeah, he totally he started to come at you with the baton and just his feet somehow tangled around the chair.
See, we know your friends even fall on their faces, and then it's baseless. Let's just go.
These fools hurt you, Master Weedo.
Hurt me? These are my friends.
Your friends.
The thugs seem a little surprised at this.
I'm
And,
totally gonna have to probably look at Get Well, and like he doesn't even realize.
Guido describes how he was walking back at Burrow Hill, and these good fellows offered to take him to go get drunk, and we've been here all night just drinking and talking about stuff. We shared things, private things.
He's been Stockholmed.
I'm gonna have to go
And-
approach one of the quote kidnappers and ask him. It's like, all right, tell me about the man who hired you, please.
We don't. They don't know him as before. They do describe the black hooded man. They'd never seen him before. He paid them money to go kidnap Guido. At which point Guido's like, "I can't believe you. We shared." He seems genuinely hurt.
I
I'm sure.
legitimately don't know how to respond to him.
Guido, come with us. We're here to take you back to your father.
I'm sure it feels like your ground is falling out from beneath you, Guido, but it's time to come back.
So he's a little stumbly himself, but he'll navigate around the table very carefully, and just give that "how could you" look to these guys, and look like, how do you
Murdoch.
describe that? They look like they've just been
What?
like they look like they've been called out, like they've been called to the carpet. They I can't think of the damn word.
They're embarrassed.
Embarrassed. There.
And Guido
they
looked
appear
like somebody
embarrassed.
kicked it. And Guido looks like somebody kicked his poor dog.
And then the other guy throws up.
That's probably because he's just realised how much he actually shared.
Right. Well, let's get him back.
Guido's like, "Boy, wait until my father hears about this."
Yes,
I can't believe somebody kidnapped me.
He sent us. Watch your step there.
So are we going to do anything with these thug guys? Are we calling the authorities on them? Or letting them go?
That's a valid point.
Well, how is Sir Kenrick kind of viewing this right now? I just want to know because Murdoch has an agenda right now that I want to try to role play.
Yeah, we know what your agenda is, you greedy SOB.
Well, Kenrick has honesty.
Yeah, you want to turn these idiots over as well.
But Murdoch will be like, "Hey, everybody go upstairs. I'll make sure that these people don't follow."
No, I don't trust you.
And then we hear sounds of torment.
He's just going to throw water in their face and yell beefcake.
Oh, we're going to
Give
take
me your
them
money.
with us.
You give me your money, I'll say nothing. You can walk.
Wow. He's not a very pleasant person, is he?
He's just single-minded.
Are those traits of greed or just a straight up thief?
Do it.
He's being greedy. But it's like, hey, these are thugs. Stealing
means
it's
they're
not
not going to have
stealing
any
from
money.
a thug. It's just redistribution of wealth.
Well, they did just get paid by a black-hooded man.
And apparently they drank it all. Yeah, hurt them out. Flag down constable. It's totally going to be the same guy, isn't it?
No, this is a different ward, so it'll be a different constable over here.
Well, explain the situation. Hand off these two losers.
This guy actually seems relatively squared away.
Well, that's good, because I'm also going to mention the other dude and the other issue in the other wards. I honestly don't think it's going to matter, but just in case.
Oh, you mean the other guys that got captured?
Yes.
Can I try to intimidate these two guys to give me their money?
Dear God, dude. Are we going to have to kick you out?
Like whispering in their ear as we're walking out. If you don't give me your money, you won't live to see the door.
Now you're just a blatant thief.
So that's what I was saying. He's more a thief than he is any kind of somebody that's greedy.
Cool.
Greedy would be like, I'm not going to do something unless I get paid. Versus, I'm just going to rob everybody I see.
Okay. Never.
He's had a taste for the gangster life, and he's liking it.
I don't know why he's got so much more money than everybody else. Why is he upset?
Yeah, that's a problem with greed. Greed is never satisfied.
Indeed. Well, you guys stand around outside for a bit, and you start to, well, okay, so you deal with the constable. The constable comes by and picks up the dudes. The guys that were drinking, I'll kind of go home or go in the direction of home and then pass out.
Yes.
Sometime later, you guys move on. Where are you going to take Guido?
We should have arranged that beforehand.
We probably would have.
Yeah, because that.
So wherever
take him to the guild, or take him to our guild tavern and tell Gamby that he's there.
Yeah, you could.
Neutral enough ground, right?
But there's also the aspect of we would have figured out a place of returning them to them.
Yeah, because we wouldn't want to. We would not want to have taken them to the Locksmiths Guild because they're sort of like at war or something.
Well, yeah. But on the other hand, it is also relatively close by. So,
and it's
for that
entirely
matter.
possible they're still there,
It is
still
possible.
arguing. Nothing else, they may have also sent some people out to follow us. So we might see them while we're en route. Was
Indeed.
it Robar and Crassus?
That probably would be the Locksmith Guild. It would make sense. I mean, from the aspect that if we're not that far away, they're probably still thinking
and
that
we just went right here.
Capos were like still the ones involved.
Yep.
So
we'll go back there first. If they're gone, then I guess Mark is right. We'll do like Mark said and go back to the Heroes Guild and send word.
All right. You start to make your way down the street, headed toward the Thieves Guild, intending, if you can't drop him off there, to go to the Heroes Guild and hold him there. So, I would like somebody to make a roll versus 12.
roll versus 12.
That will do. So as you're making your way down the street, everything's quieted quite a bit, and you hear a voice calling from a nearby rooftop and see a black hooded figure. He exclaims from his perch up on the roof that
God.
he was promised great fame and wealth unimaginable if he would start a gang war. But I have no need of such things. I was happy to try anyway. And he immediately bolts along the rooftops like he was born to it.
Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm going to be pursuing him. So Leodin should go after him all by himself.
Can this guy outrun an arrow?
I don't think anybody can outrun an arrow.
Flash can. Quicksilver.
Okay.
Superman.
Any real person or real-ish person?
How
Yeah, I was
far
about
away
to
is
say,
he?
because how real are we?
So you will be starting.
You guys jump into the chase. I will continue to escort.
No, I'm just asking
back.
how far away he is. And we're not.
You guys are at the short range band.
So is Leodin thinking of firing an arrow at the guy?
Yeah, Leo's thinking of putting an arrow through his knee.
All right. So, having said that, this will be a difficult shot because he is running full tilt, doing acrobatics, and you are shooting up, which is going to give him a little cover from the rooftop itself as you go. So, as far as the chase goes, are you actually just going to take the shot and see how that goes, or what? Is anybody actually going to give chase?
Leo will take the shot. If he misses, he'll give chase.
Okay.
Yeah, my move is 4, so I am definitely not a chasey person.
Murdoch would not give chase. He knows he's up on the roofs. He's not going to be able to catch up.
Well, plus I'm halfway wondering if it's I'm halfway wondering if it's trying to draw all of us away from Weedo so he can take out Weedo. Yeah, go for it, Getwell.
Getwell will shout out in a loud, resounding voice, proclaiming or declaring that and commanding that he stop.
Ew.
Yeah.
What are the parameters of that? So is there any accounting for range or anything like that?
There is.
There is, yes.
And how does that overlap? Because that's magic range, not.
Yeah, so it'll be minus one
SSMS
per
range.
hex. But the command spell may have something different. It might be.
It's a
little bit
blocking
different.
spell.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It doesn't.
Does it say anything in the the text?
No, it just says
What page is that on?
give a subject one immediate command, a word and a gesture, or at most 2 words, which the subject must obey. If the subject is unwilling or unable to fulfill the command immediately or on his next turn, the spell has no effects. Examples: drop it, look, wait.
Really?
But it's very vague, and
What page?
So in that case, it's going to be a minus one per hex you are from the target.
but how would that work? Because it's not. It would be by voice. Magic 136. Because I know a lot of other spells like, hey, I'm going to put you to sleep, require touch, and if you don't touch them, then it's going to be you get all the negatives for range. But this one's weird. This is the weirdest one because I thought about that. It's like, well, range, but is it range based or is it can the person hear me based?
Well, okay. So, it is resisted by will, and it is a blocking spell. And I don't know if blocking spells have any sort of range to them. I would imagine.
Technically, no, because it's only regular spells that go by the regular spell thing. But I don't know if a blocking spell is a regular spell that can be used as blocking.
Yeah.
Are you looking at that from the Dungeon Fantasy spellbook? Or the GURPS Magic one?
No, it's in from Magic now. It's from the Cleric spell list from Dungeon Fantasy.
It's also on page 251 of Basic Set. Lets the caster give the subject one immediate command, a word, and a gesture, or at most 2 words, which the subject must obey. If the subject is unable to fulfill the command immediately or on his next turn, the spell has no effect. So stop would be he stops. But it's resisted by will.
Okay. Let's do it this way. So I think it makes sense that it is a perception issue. So he has to be able to hear you say it.
Right.
That's probably the range thing. So clearly you're within voice range. If you say it very loudly, he can hear.
And he was just talking to us. He was monologuing.
Exactly. So I guess the question here is who gets to go first? So between yourself and Leodin has what speed?
They're both speed.
He's
faster than Getwell. 6 versus 575.
Okay. So Leodin will probably shoot first, but then again he's probably gonna aim. But I don't know.
Heroic Archer.
That's true. He doesn't necessarily have to aim.
He ain't gonna aim. Screw this. Watch this, guys. Pew!
So my first question is therefore, is Leodin going to... He's going to have to fast draw, and he's going to have to knock. So that's going to take at least 1 second to do that unless he tries to do it fast. And given that this is a tough shot, he might not want to do that.
Okay, since the guy is running, does it look like Leo has time to aim, or is this, if he doesn't shoot now, the guy's gone?
This is chase turns roughly, so I would
Why
say
would
this
you
is a
aim? You have,
progress.
You have whatchamajigga.
Not literally aim. So yes, you could take that extra second to. Okay, don't roll to shoot him though. Okay, so
in terms of chase, I guess Leo is taking the attack option.
Yeah, obviously.
And Leo will be static for this turn.
Attack option. So if you take that one round to set up, then Getwell is going to be able to do the command roughly at the same time you fire, or it'll be effective for when you fire.
Okay.
Therefore, Laodin fast draws the arrow and knocks it at the same time that Getwell throws a command.
Sounds legit.
The command is to stop, and he has failed to resist that.
Go!
Therefore, he only has to stop for a second, but it just happens to be the second that Laodin is going to shoot him.
Double dough.
So, it was going to be a -6 to hit him, never minding range and darkness, which at this point you're only at a -1. So you won't get the speed penalty from him, which I think in this case is going to be -3. So basically you're just down to cover.
All right, so
Time for you to roll a 3, Brian.
Can you use the
So you got
tactics
range.
points in this
Shoot
case?
shoot
No,
that arrow
this
straight
is
through
not
his
that
kneecap.
situation.
Boo!
Kneecaps might be a little problematic given the angles.
He can curve the arrow.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking of the movie Wanted.
I hate that movie. Hated the comic even more.
So short range -3, -1 for darkness, and -2
for leg.
for cover, and 2 for leg. So
Are his legs behind cover?
Basically, you're looking up at him around the corner of the roof there. So his legs are. If he's got half cover, then his legs are probably not going to be visible.
Well, you're gonna have to shoot him in the kidney.
Tell you what we'll do. We'll do the reaction universe. Good reaction. You got a shot on his leg. You do not.
So, what level of partial cover then?
I think we're going with medium, so 3.
So it's going to be a -9 all up.
All right, so I want you
Go
to
for
roll
the
that
kidney.
in the box. Roll it in the box.
No, we want to see what happens. That's lame.
I'm going to all-out attack as well.
Kind of figured.
We're going to demand that he rolls a 3.
-8.
Drum roll.
Did that all work?
I believe it did, yeah. All right.
You rolled a 3.
Go ahead and roll damage in the box while you're at it, just to
Lame.
cover that.
Well, on the bright
Random hit
side, maybe
location.
you'll be
Roll random hit location. Go ahead.
brain.
All right, so you shot him in the, or you were aiming at the torso then? I don't think there was anything else to do with that.
Oh,
Well, you might as,
torso, huh?
might as well just roll the 1d in the box too while you're at it.
That was the leg.
Okay. Yeah, that.
You couldn't
that
get the
doesn't
leg,
work.
though.
Oh, he rolled the wrong table.
I included the penalty for partial cover. So I could get the leg, but I had to have the partial cover penalty. Did I understand that right? Or did I misunderstand that?
No, the leg is behind cover. You can't hit the leg.
Okay, so then that was to the torso then, and I would have got a further +3 to hit him. No, doesn't matter.
I think we
It
sort
was
of.
to the torso.
Anyway. All right, so
Message for you, sir.
If that was to the torso, then Leo would have used not the bodkin point. He would have used the barbed head.
okay. What is that? It doesn't matter.
Whatever gets through armor is doubled.
So the night is dark and full of terrors. Up on the rooftop, a black hooded man turns to bolt, roof running away from the group, and as Laodin
Stumbles.
fast draws and knocks an arrow, Getwell says stop, and he does. And Laodin looses an arrow at the shadowy figure up on the roof. And let me do a thing.
Do we get the Wilhelm scream as he falls from the rooftop?
So he doesn't fall, but he takes off again. Only it's not quite as graceful as it looked like it was going to be.
Right, now
In
the
fact,
question is whether...
In fact, it's actually kind of almost ponderous, I would say.
like he's badly injured. Now the question is, do we send a couple of the PCs in pursuit?
Well, seeing as he's on the roofs, there are only so many places he can go.
Well, Leo
And
intends to pursue.
If he is definitely wounded, then he's going to have a hard time of it.
You said Leo is going to pursue?
Yeah, so his first round of chase was going to be static attack.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Well, yeah, you do that. I think, what's Murdoch's speed normally? Is it also like 5 or 4? Pretty slow.
It's 6.
Including your armor?
Including armor, it is 3.
His move is 3.
Right. So Murdoch and Kenrick are going, I think we're going to hurry Guido away onto the as quickly as we can with our moves of 3 and 4 respectively.
So it's up to Dustin and Brother Getwell if they want to bring this guy in.
Well,
No.
if they want to go with Leo.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, he's like, I don't want to kill him. I just want to bring him in alive. Although, from what we've seen, we've got to be careful that Dustin doesn't attack with the ice knife and blow a hole through him.
Yeah, Dustin,
time.
are you
one
feeling
time.
murderous right now?
No.
All right. So to establish the parameters here. Kenrick. Hold on, make sure we're looking at the same thing. Kenrick and Murdoch are staying with Guido.
Yeah,
what
we're
is
not
Getwell
getting
doing?
involved in the fight. The chase.
Laodin is chasing.
Go for it, Dustin. We believe you.
No. I'm good.
Dustin's going to have a hard time keeping up. So he's staying with the other group.
I had
Indeed.
a very amusing thought just now. I could like totally whistle and my horse comes around a corner. And everybody's like, what? Why? What?
How do you keep doing that?
Sir Magnus, I choose you.
Is Getwell chasing or staying with Guido?
Getwell is not chasing.
Okay. All right. So
Does
Laodin is the
Getwell
only one
have-
chasing.
Does Getwell have haste?
Negative.
Oh man, because I was gonna say it's like if you could go bam and hit Leo with chase or haste with chase.
Dustin has haste.
Does he?
Well, that's gonna be range issue, and Laodin's not gonna stay here while you cast that on him, I think.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Because haste takes like 2 seconds to cast. Never mind.
All right. So, having established that Laodin is the only one going after this guy, how are you going to pursue him? Are you staying on the ground? Are you going to try to climb up and get on the rooftops with him? What are you doing?
He will stay on the ground for the moment.
Until he determines he can't.
Yeah. So
all right.
He'll be looking ahead, and if he sees the, what is it, like, is it mobility escape? Or
Right.
something to that effect. If he sees, oh, he's going over the bridge and I can't follow, then Leo will work his way up to the same level.
Well, to make a long story short, you hit him in the torso. You did enough damage to put him in below a third. So he is half moving dodge. He's not going to be doing any super stunts. So what's going to happen is you're going to take off down the alley parallel to the roof he's running on, and he's going to get to the end, start to jump down, or he's going to look for a place he can jump to, and he's going to basically run out of options by the time you're down there on the ground looking up at him while he's trying to climb. So at that point, you have the option to let him go or press.
Shoot him again.
Or shoot him again.
So he's climbing down to where Leo is?
More or less, yeah.
Is he like climbing toward Leo, or is he still up ahead from Leo? Like, I mean, is Leo underneath? Can Leo sort of just draw an arrow and point and say,
Leo
that's
is
far enough?
You basically, Leo, following on the road, has come up underneath him as he's trying to climb down and making a bad go of it.
Alright, so Leo will say, that's far enough. It is over.
Dun dun dun.
And the hooded man says, indeed.
And then explodes into ravens.
You've caught me, Master Elf.
He should be like coughing up blood when he's saying that. For cool dramatic effect.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty shot. Knowing that that's a barbed head, that's gonna make a mess coming back out too. Probably not life-threatening, but definitely acrobatic career-ending.
Surrender yourself
temporarily.
and your weapons, and submit, and I will see to it that you get the attention that you need.
Where will you go with him now?
Is he asking that?
I am asking you that. He is complying at this point.
Alright, so Leo will
Compliance will be rewarded.
direct him back to where the group was.
Okay, so you take him back to meet up with the rest of you guys. We have Black Hooded Man, who is
Leo will,
clearly
though,
been shot.
Leo will unhood him so he can get a good look at him.
I think he's going to look like Trent Reznor.
He is a little. So, Leodin arrives, catches up to the rest of you, and he's got a very injured thief of some sort.
Right. So, who offered you wealth and fame unimaginable, or fame and wealth unimaginable? I don't remember which way it went.
Great fame and wealth unimaginable.
Yes, that.
He does not know the man who hired him, but he is known as the Magpie.
That sounds familiar. Should
It
that
should.
sound familiar? Okay, good. I'm not going completely mad then.
What will you do with him?
Turn his ass over to the constable.
You call out for the
I
constable
would recommend
again.
we actually return him to the Thieves Guild.
No, because if we do that, they're just going to torture him to death, and that's against the law.
That would increase our relationships between all the groups.
I am not turning someone over to the less than tender mercies of Thieves Guild.
Just the less than tender mercies of the city council, who may not do a whole lot better for him. But hey. All right, so you guys will hand him off to the local authorities then, along with the rest of the band.
Yes.
You've had a fairly productive night in that regard.
Yep, they're gonna the constables are like freaking be our heroes, people. Make them stop. We're having to fill out a lot of paperwork.
When the constable comes to pick him up, it's like, oh, what's this? And apparently he's got a big old bag of money because he just got paid by the Thieves Guild and the Halfling Mafia to give up the location.
The big bag of money. The hooded dude.
Yeah.
Grumble, grumble, grumble. Why did we do this for free? There's our paycheck right there. Let him get away.
This is technically belonging to Capo and Gamby.
Well, the local constabulary is obviously going to take possession of that evidence.
Well, that's
What
fine
evidence?
as long as they're aware. We're going to relate to Boss Capo and Boss Gamby. Hey, I make sure not to put the L there.
All right,
it has been taken into evidence.
So, as it had been suggested, you start to make your way back toward the Thieves Guild, and the Vigo and his crew were on their way toward you at the time, so you guys kind of meet halfway.
Probably flanked by Capo's people.
There are a few Capo's people along for the ride too, possibly just to watch it, see what happens. But Vigo calls out to his son and brings him over, and then slaps him on the back of the head and starts berating him for his foolishness in getting captured. And they
I'm going to do
off.
the proper British thing and intent just stand there and not look at it.
And they walk off into the darkness off toward Burrow Hill back home.
Well, wow. Didn't even say thanks.
Actually, he didn't walk off. He
started to walk off.
He started to walk off and then stopped and said, "Oh, I almost forgot," because I fucking hate that. And he acknowledges that the Heroes Guild has assisted him and that he actually does owe them a debt for having helped. And he says this with a bit of a snarl, realizing that he can't really get out of it.
We'll pass that on Master Gamby.
Where will you go after
Have
that?
a pleasant evening. Well, we have to go back to the Thieves Guild to make sure that they're all satisfied.
You go back to square it away with the Thieves Guild, and they say, Capo says something similar, that he does in fact owe the Heroes Guild for this, and will say that they have behaved fairly and equitably, and yeah, so success all around.
Yeah, because we're just that awesome. We're the ones keeping the Heroes Guild afloat. Everybody else is like failing all over the place.
And
How many
thus,
guild coins?
And thus the company of the Bere part ways and return home, confident the capital is a little safer for their efforts.
I have to go back to the Heroes Guild and report.
All right,
How
so you
many
guys
guild
will
coins?
you guys will get 2 guild coins each. So you get the one for the escort mission and the other for having helped out. Beyond that, let's see. So for Phil, this is the Thieves Guild job.
Yeah, I figured that's what it was going to be called.
Yeah, I'm not being especially clever about it. Bennies. Didn't spend any bennies today.
I sort of lean towards Mark fucking everything up with the chase with stop. Because that.
I have a feeling that Laodin probably still would have shot him regardless, but that made it way easier.
With the extra -6 penalty, would it have missed?
Let me see. So, where was it? You succeeded by 4.
So it would have missed.
I think it would have. I think he actually would have hit because you were basically losing his speed penalty, and that was 3.
So still would have hit.
Yeah, I think you would have hit him anyway. But it was still funny, once again, make you screwing up the day. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give one to Paul for discovering a new thing.
A new passion?
A new passion. Scaring the living crap out of people. And making them catatonic. Anybody else?
Actually, I would
can't
like
think of
to nominate Dustin because just the sheer badass nature of that one shit spell that he did.
I don't know. Is that its own reward?
Yeah, I mean that's it.
He
was
did
mage
just
doing
one-shot
magey
a guy.
things. It's I don't know if it's that.
He did just one-shot a guy, but he's been having real trouble getting involved in the fights lately anyway.
I would say yes on the Benny, but he wouldn't get it for further similar incidences of putting holes in people.
Well, that's true. We'll call that good. All right. Let's see. Any bookkeeping we need to do here? So we don't have any actual loot this time to deal with.
Yeah, because even though I took that purse off the guy, I gave it to
Yeah,
the
you
beggar.
went and gave it away.
And
Can't
it was
believe you
just
did
the
that.
1 point as well, character point.
Yeah, 1 character point. Also that, yes. Yeah.
Groovy.
All right. Well, if you are watching this and you have questions, corrections, suggestions, or general hecklings, feel free to leave a comment here or find us on Discord. Thank you for watching. Olympus out.
Lots of heckling.
Good night, stream.